comes around too late. The mini Uzi making all the difference for Wasana.
Pina out in the open. Wasana looks to finish him off at this point. Pina drops as well.
Ooh!
Best rushes out there, the one and only Wasana.
We do have Wasana. Oh, the one shot onto Blade. Wasn't even given a chance to be able to be picked up. And now Wasana pushing through for the team as well.
Fearless and relentless, he created openings where none existed, winning duels no one else could.
Buriram already have activated the champion rush condition. This has to be the moment. Buriram, your 3-time world champion.
2 attempts, 2 heartbreaks, but he refused to break. When everyone doubted him, he kept his smile, and today he burns brighter than ever. The MVP of the best team in Free Fire World Series 2025 Global Final. Since 2023, when Buriram United first came into the FFWS Global Finals with the roster of 2022's world champions, captained by 2-time world champion Jonah, taking new recruit Wasana, the all-star lineup crumbled, losing to Brazilian rivals Magic Squad. Even though they finished second, many people still doubted them, especially Wasana. After a year, they returned to the FFWS with the same goal in mind. Unfortunately, their plans went sideways as Buriram finished third instead. This year, they return with the same goal: prove the doubters wrong. But they started the tournament poorly.
ก็พวกผมก็ทำเต็มที่ครับความพยายามไม่เคยทำร้ายใครอยู่แล้วพวกผมพยายามมา2 ปีครับที่พยายามมามันไม่เคยเสียหายครับมันทำให้ทีมตัวเองได้เก่งยิ่งขึ้นครับแล้วที่วิจารณ์กันมาว่าฟอร์มดรอปก็ตอนนั้นก็ดรอปจริงๆครับแต่ตอนนี้ก็พยายามแก้ไขในสิ่งที่พลาดในตอนนั้นจนถึงมาสำเร็จทุกวันนี้ครับ
รู้สึกว่าอยากได้มากครับเพราะว่าโดนพี่เกียรติล้อกีนอนชอบล้อผมไม่มีแชมป์โลกที่จะ MVP ไม่มีแชมป์โลกเขาชอบล้อกันนะคนจริงชอบล้อผมนะแต่ผมเกียรติคนเดียวนะกีนอนคนเดียวเลยชอบล้อไปถล่มเขาย้ำๆนะคนดูแต่ว่าชอบพูดมาแบบตอนว่าเฮ้ยใครไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะไม่คุยกับคนไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะ
Reset. Adapt. Burn bright.
ก่อนจะเข้ามาแข่งรอบเจนไฟนอลก็คิดไว้ครับว่าพวกผมมาเอาแชมป์ให้วัฒนาเพราะว่าน้องยังไม่เคยได้แชมป์โลกแล้วทุกคนทำเพื่อวัฒนาแล้วก็มั่นใจกันมากครับผม
This year, they finally did it. Joanna's dedication for Buriram finally paid off as he made history as the first ever 3-time FFWS Global Finals champion, as the captain led his young teammate Wasana to his first ever world championship.
ก็รู้สึกดีใจที่ได้เห็นน้องถือถ้วยแล้วแต่ว่าเราก็ดีในลึกๆเราก็ดีใจเหมือนกันเพราะเราก็ตามหาถ้วยนี้มานานมาก
ก็มาแทนตอนนั้นเหมือนมาแทนพี่ไอ้นะครับแล้วเขาก็เมนกันว่ามาแทนเดี๋ยวคูดจะไหวหรออะไรก็ผมทำไม่เห็นแล้วนะครับ
Once the youngest in EXP, now the backbone of AG, he's walked this path before. In 2023, he seized the tournament MVP, carving his name in fire against giants like Butchin, Q, and Bops.
รู้สึกดีใจอยู่ครับแต่ว่าเสียใจที่ว่าไม่ได้แชมป์ด้วยครับ
AG's due as their leader, their carry, their heartbeat. Within 2 years of relentless improvements, he came back stronger. He lead his squad to crush doubt and dominate the Clash squad.
Oh, dude! You can do it, son! This is it! A squad of T7! Drags them across the finish line with an ace on Mach 3!
From being the 2023 MVP, he has walked the talk, and now he proves the doubters wrong all over again, earning the first ever MVP and carving his name into history as a champion of the first FFWS Clash Squad World Finals. We are here in Jakarta for the Free Fire World Series Global Finals 2025. The biggest Free Fire event in Free Fire Esports of the year. The knockout stage began, and 6 days decided everything. The best teams crushed doubts, while 6 teams were crushed by pressure and eliminated early instead.
Triple kill. Double kill.
Fans from every corner of Indonesia traveled to witness an epic finale to the team's journey in Jakarta's Indonesia Arena, the nation's largest esports venue. 100,000s of fans, lights, music, fire, energy, all building up toward the biggest show Free Fire has ever put on. What an epic end to the FFWS Global Finals 2025. Congratulations to our world champions, BIGETRON United Esports. A Guinness World Record-breaking esports event attended by over 600,000 participants.
Welcome to
All access.
This is the Pros Masterclass. Nero, a deep dive into his strengths, abilities, and why he's shaping the way pros play right now. Next, let's break down some high-level pro plays from FFWS 2025. RQ Kazoo took the launch pad and a free target for P-Sports as they soared through the sky. RQ Abe got knocked the moment he landed. From far, Nero's skill to stop RRQ Kazu from instant blue walling and get a resurrection on RRQ Abe. Nero's skill also disables Joseph ability, allowing detection skills like Moko's to become more effective. RQ Kazoo had to spend more time breaking Nero's plushie before they could safely resurrect. The damage from Nero's plushie continues to tick down their HP. T-Sports uses this window to close in on RRQ Kazu. With RQ Kazu's HP not full, P-Sports comes in for the cleanup. meta shifts, tactical zoning, and anti-glue control, Nero brings a whole new layer of strategy to every fight. At this moment, Esports uses Nero's skill first to break through the enemy's defense, powered by Joseph, then activates a 124 skill to disable the opponent's active abilities. However, Joseph can counter a 124's effect and protect himself from it. That's a wrap on our Nero breakdown. The plushie, the pressure, and the plays that define this meta. Is Nero your must pick, or just overhyped?
Teams reset back to 0 points in the champion rush. The grand finals bring pressure like nothing else, with unpredictable results, split-second decisions, pressure, and stage fright. This is where confidence decides everything.
ทุกชั่วโมงทุกอย่างที่เราซ้อมกันมาถึงวันนี้ทุกอย่างที่เราเสียสละการเปลี่ยนแปลงที่เราปรับและชีวิตเรามาถึงจุดนี้ได้เนาะ
Só ganha essa quem dá o buia, mano. Então não vamos deixar ninguém ganhar e ninguém tirar esse buia de nós.
Hari ini terakhir. Ya, waktunya keluarin semua, main all out dari game 1. Ya, main all out dari game 1 tanpa beban, tanpa pressure, enjoy. Se-enjoy-enjoynya.
Sedikit waktu maksimalin. Percaya sama teman, itu yang paling penting. Toko,นึกอะไรข้างบนmas
Vale a pena na vida de vocês, mano. A gente não sabe que a gente terá outras oportunidades igual essa. Fechou? Então vamos pra cima. Alguém quiser falar, o momento é de vocês.
Dut bilang sama gua match 4 kita sampai di champion rush match kelima tidak tutup. Walaupun emang harus gagal di match kelima, match 6 tidak tutup. So menurut gua nggak ada yang nggak mungkin. Walaupun emang harus gagal sekali, masih ada next match. Paling dari aku itu aja, selalu diingat, saling percaya, itu kuncinya guys. Oke, sebelum kita mulai, mari kita berdoa guys.
Ya. Bora, o máximo em geral.
Masih
Gak apa-apa. Ya.
Sampai banget, Cok.
Two booyahs from the on-fire Fluxo silenced the Indonesian crowd, leaving behind a big gap with R7, RRQ, and EVOS. They are now in desperate need of a recovery.
Santai guys.
Nice,
RRQ and EVOS finally recovering. However, Buriram is miles ahead of everyone else. The first to activate the champion rush.
Kamu nggak lewat sini, kita lewat depannya, ayo, gua skill. Depannya. Len. Satu, aku. Sabar.
A desperate play from RRQ stops Buriram.
Masuk postir.
Giving Fluxo the chance to activate the champion rush with the Booyah. Champion rush activated. Now two teams begin their race for the final Booyah.
Jangan hati. Nyiap.
It's the end of FFWS Global Finals 2025. We witnessed doubts being crushed and history being made from the eyes of the MVP himself, Wasana. Buriram United Esports are crowned as Best Team of the Year.
Who am I gonna verse now? Burn bright, I don't burn out. Crush doubts, look at me now, huh?
I can never go reverse now.
But I'ma spin it back, A-jump. Went from nada to the crowd, throw in their hands, base jump. I'ma hit the finish line no matter what. They front, first place, you a runner-up, dominant, but the red and the blues going ruthless. 10 out of 10, 11, I don't snooze, I pursue. Don't push it, put me in game that I don't lose. I stay cool, depending on my pen and pennants I choose. Ayy, I'ma show you how it. Got it, nada, loudest. Wu-Tang, I'm a bird of the competition. Told you only way is up, I don't go reverse. I can't entertain. Will you do the same? Cause I've been ready my whole life. Only see my back, I ain't turning back on them. Wings on me, I'm higher. Cause I've been ready my whole life. Wings on me, I'm higher. Who am I gonna verse now? Who am I gonna verse now? Show me what it's worth now. I pull up in the can't imagine all these people wanna follow, missing in action. Paper planes, I'm a condos, made it from rapping, and I met role models. Thinking I'ma pass all the monogram on my body, the shit shout out to Virgil. Know that I'm gonna beat them like the shit that I put words to. Mama and the internet, two things that I just learned through. Hit it out of the park, so there's nothing to reverse to. I can't entertain. Will you do the same? Cause I've been ready my whole life. Only see my back, I ain't turning back on them. Wings on me, I'm higher. Cause I've been ready my whole life. Wings on me, I'm higher.
Let's go. Wild and free, got an animal in me. Once you see, you ain't never wanna leave. You think your eyes are fooling you. It's just the way my body moves. I bring the sugar and spice. I got naughty and nice. Get the cinnamon once, promise you want it twice. So come get a taste like dang. Got looks that kill, bang bang. I'm razor sharp, real so hard. Light it up, fireworks in the dark. Watch out, I'ma get ya. Don't leave, I will let ya. I'm razor sharp, really so hard. I light it up, fireworks in the dark. I'm a non-stop drill, I can lose that kill. I'm a little bit bittersweet, but you can pour some sugar on me. I'ma knock you off of your feet. Non-stop
from the kid that everybody doubted and everyone said was overrated.
Mungkin player overrated ya Wasana lah. Wasanaครับ
Wasana. Atualmente vai sobrar pro Wasana.
He is the only one who has never won any international tournament in his team. His hunger was higher compared to others. Towering in front of him, the same enemy, the two-time world champion. The same challenge for him to overcome again. Whenever Buriram needed someone to step forward, Wasana was always there first. Every fight he took was a risk. But that's what makes him one of the best rushers in the world.
Oh, Wasana! Nolan notices him as LBT tries to take the trade on the map, but he turns around too late. The mini Uzi making all the difference for Wasana.
Bina out in the open. Wasana looks to finish him off at this point. Bina dropped as well.
Ooh!
Best rushes out there, the one and only Wasana.
We do have Wasana. Oh, the one shot onto Blade. Wasn't even given a chance to be able to be picked up. And now Wasana pushing through for the team as well.
Fearless and relentless, he created openings where none existed, winning duels no one else could.
Buriram already have activated the champion rush condition. This has to be the moment. Buriram, your three-time world champions.
2 attempts, 2 heartbreaks, but he refused to break. When everyone doubted him, he kept his smile, and today he burns brighter than ever. The MVP of the best team in Free Fire World Series 2025 Global Final. Since 2023, when Buriram United first came into the FFWS Global Finals, with the roster of 2022's world champions, captained by 2-time world champion Jonah, taking new recruit Wasana, the all-star lineup crumbled, losing to Brazilian rivals, Magic Squad. Even though they finished second, many people still doubted them, especially Wasana. After a year, they returned to the FFWS with the same goal in mind. Unfortunately, their plans went sideways as Buriram finished third instead. This year, they return with the same goal: prove the doubters wrong. But they started the tournament poorly.
ก็พวกผมก็ทำเต็มที่ครับความพยายามไม่เคยทำร้ายใครอยู่แล้วพวกผมพยายามมา2 ปีครับที่พยายามมามันไม่เคยเสียหายครับมันทำให้ทีมตัวเองได้เก่งยิ่งขึ้นครับแล้วที่วิจารณ์กันมาว่าฟอร์มดรอปก็ตอนนั้นก็ดรอปจริงๆครับแต่ตอนนี้ก็พยายามแก้ไขในสิ่งที่พลาดในตอนนั้นจนถึงมาสำเร็จทุกวันนี้ครับ
รู้สึกว่าอยากได้มากครับเพราะว่าโดนพี่เกียรติล้อกีนอนชอบล้อผมไม่มีแชมป์โลกพี่แต่ MVP ไม่มีแชมป์โลกเขาชอบล้อกันนะคนจริงชอบล้อผมนะแต่ผมเกียรติคนเดียวนะกีนอนคนเดียวเลยชอบล้อไปถล่มเขาย้ำๆนะคนดูแต่ว่าชอบพูดมาแบบตอนว่าเฮ้ยใครไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะไม่คุยกับคนไม่ได้แชมป์โลกวะ
Reset. Adapt. Burn bright.
ก่อนจะเข้ามาแข่งรอบเกมไฟนอลก็คิดไว้ครับว่าพวกผมมาเอาแชมป์ให้วัฒนาเพราะว่าน้องยังไม่เคยได้แชมป์โลกแล้วทุกคนทำเพื่อวัฒนาแล้วก็มั่นใจกันมากครับผม
This year, they finally did it.
Your three-time world champions.
Joanna's dedication for Buriram finally paid off, as he made history as the first ever three-time FFWS Global Finals champion, as the captain led his young teammate Wasana to his first ever World Championship.
ก็รู้สึกดีใจครับที่ได้เห็นน้องถือถ้วยแล้วแต่ว่าเราก็ดีในลึกๆเราก็ดีใจเหมือนกันเพราะเราก็ตามหาถ้วยนี้มานานมาก
ก็มาแทนตอนนั้นเนี่ยเหมือนมาแทนพี่ไอ้นะครับแล้วเขาก็เมนกันว่ามาแทนเดี๋ยวคูดจะไหวหรออะไรก็ผมทำไม่เห็นแล้วนะครับ
Once the youngest in EXP, now the backbone of AG, he's walked this path before. In 2023, he seized the tournament MVP, carving his name in fire against giants like Butchin.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. It's the final day of the main event. We are gonna find out who our 12 finalists are by the end of this day, and it is my pleasure to be here as your caster for the first half of the day. My name is Crips, joining me is Azora, and we are gonna witness some really high octane Free Fire Max action today.
That we are, Crips, and well, it's the final day, and I would say 7 different nations all banding across, coming down to this one final spot to see who will go ahead and lead the charge. Well, the casters have already predicted that 135 will be the threshold through which, if you come on top, well, you've already survived it, but if you go at the bottom, then you're straight up out. That's the kind of prediction we have already said. What about you guys? Have you already predicted that? Secondly, it is super important for both the groups to perform. Yesterday it was just Group B, and today it is Group A and C, both swords having swung right across their necks. Whether it's gonna slice or dice, or it's just gonna be a safe, we'll see that real soon.
Yep, it's gonna be an insanely high pressure situation for every team performing over here. Yep. All the members of Group B are already done playing. Now the ball is out of their hands. It's not in their court anymore. Now the teams of Groups A and C, they will determine who will be the top 12 teams who will be going to the finals tomorrow. Let's take a look at the timeline of the tournament, because it's been a long and arduous journey for some of these teams. Once we take a look at the timeline, you'll see how many phases they've had to go through.
That's right. So the timeline defines, Crips, the kind of grueling games that all of these teams have gone through. As you all can see, the tournament timeline, it has been bonkers. We went all across from 11, 12, and now we're at 13, heading all the way towards 14. 14 will be the epidome. The action is still on. The high octane that Crips has already mentioned, that's soon to be seen. And post that, it is a CS main event as well. 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. Make sure you have the time in your schedule. If not, then just crash your schedule aside and then show up, because it's going to be super important.
Show up, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you gotta do, and that's what these teams have to do as well, because most of these teams have had to struggle in the play-ins. Out of the 18 teams that we've seen in the main event, 10 of them had to go through the play-ins, get inside that top 10, and now they make it to the BR main event. Obviously here the cutoff is slightly easier. We'll be allowing 12 teams into the final instead of the top 10. So yes, there's a buffer of 2 more teams, but the quality of the lobby, Azura, is that much more dangerous. And why shouldn't it be? Because these teams are competing for a massive amount of money. Obviously that money will be split between BR mode as well as the Clash Squad mode. We will take a look at the exact figures in just a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen, because there is a massive amount of $50,000 up for grabs.
That's right. Show me the money is what I can say. Where's the money? Well, for
the BR itself, the prize pool is $35,000, but for the Clash Squad modes, you've got $15,000 dedicated. Obviously, the champion over here walks away with the lion's share of the prize pool. They will be walking away with $10,000. Second place gets $5,000, and similarly, you will get a minimum of $650 by just virtue of being in the top 18. Indeed. Obviously, nobody wants that amount. You want the big bucks, but they're gonna have a little more chances in the Clash Squad mode as well, when there's a prize pool of $15,000 up for grabs over there too.
Precisely. And now reaching towards the one thing that matters a lot, how you go ahead and be called the champions. This is that specific thing which will help overall build your character in game. Alright, looking at the point system, as we all know, the tiebreaker rules are also there, but talking about the way you can get the maximum points out of the positions, that's right, that is going to be the hashtag 1 position. And alongside that, we have 1 elimination alongside the 1 point, which comes right around it. Now talking about the unique active skill through which teams are going to decide what kind of meta they're going to bring down in this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, obviously because these points are up for grabs and it's such a dangerous way to grab them, these players, there is a chance that they would have spanned multiple abilities because the way the meta has evolved, some of these players have figured out the way to repeat these abilities, and that's exactly why we have implemented this rule of 1 unique active skill. Each player in the team has to use an active skill which is different from all the other players in the team. You cannot repeat active skills. Obviously, so far we've seen a lot of passive skills being repeated, like a lot of these teams are running Suzy, Tiva, Olivia. These are some of the most staple characters that you'll see a lot of support players use, but none of them will be using the same active ability, which is why we are seeing such a diverse function over here as well. Some of these teams are way more aggressive, so they run the double rushing composition with both Tatsuya alongside Oscar. Some of them focus on survivability more, so they pick up Cassie as their active skill so they can completely heal up their squads. The others, they decide to use the support in a way where they just provide cover, so they use the Chrono Time Turner, and that's why a lot of these teams have been showing us a different combination, and that's why there's so many different flavors in this tournament as well.
But the one unique flavor of the month, this one team has been so great when it comes to the elimination points that they have not received any booyah, and hence no booyah, no problem, as BIGETRON by Vitality, they have been so significant in getting those points. They have a total of 132, and let along, I've seen teams having like a booyah alongside like 30 pointers in certain maps like Bermuda, but BIGETRON, they never received a single booyah, but still they have such good points. I just love the kind of enthusiasm this team is showcasing in this entire tournament.
Yeah, it's not just the enthusiasm of this team, but also how lethal they are. Without even winning a single booyah, these teams, this team has managed to dominate almost every other opponent that they've come across. They have been racking up those elimination points. Like their first two games actually were the most lackluster games because they got 13 and 14 points in it respectively. After that, they've just been dropping 20 bombs on 20 bombs in just eliminations. Like take a look at their third game of Bermuda in the previous day. 30 points. That's a number which we have seen teams without, even the teams which win a booyah, they don't end up getting 30 points in a single game. And this team just managed to get that without a single booyah. They got like 22 elimination points and 8 placement points in that one. And after that, in next year at 25, Purgatory 26, Alpine 24, they have secured 132 points without even a single booyah. And that's almost as much as the cutoff that some of these teams will be acquiring in 2 days combined. That's how good they are.
True. And looking at that team, it just reminded me of Falcons. Falcons themselves have been very consistent whenever it comes to the elimination game. They have received a booyah, but that doesn't matter. They have been very consistent in reaching towards the top 3 again and again. And today is the final day for all these teams to perform. DRS, Meta Ninjas, we have even Esports, SATUL, all of them, they need to perform. It doesn't matter how harsh the situations are. It's somehow you need to keep yourself afloat.
Yep, some of these teams are struggling to stay afloat. Meanwhile, everyone else is just drowning in success. They have so many points and some of these teams have very little to work with. Like, the disparity between some of these teams in terms of points is astounding. We'll take a look at that difference later, but let's now take a look at the players that make up these teams, because some of these players have been absolutely phenomenal.
True that. And with those actions that we could usually see, let's just go ahead and witness the kind of rosters that they're having right now. GB Esports, a lot of work needs to be done, and this is the final victory lap. I would say 6 more maps to go for each and everyone out there who would love to be in the top 12 and showcase their performance on day number, I would say 4. So this is the main event. This is the final chance for going ahead and reaching towards the cutoff. Or if you are having more than just that, then it's really good for your team overall.
Yep. Take a look at some of these players. In my mind, right now on this screen, the players who really stand out are Long Kong from AVIDA, because he's been able to snipe off some of these players mid-air, and those are some really stylish shots. From GB Esports, I would love to take a look at Kazi sir's action more closely, because Kazi sir ends up surviving for his team more frequently, and that's why he doesn't get caught on camera, but he's been very impactful for his team's performance. Same with NG Pros. Players like Manu, they stay away from the team's actual core of Cropsy, Aztec and Anubhav, who continue pressuring everybody, and NG Pros are also a very, very aggressive team. Falcons, on the other hand, I can't mention one player who's been standing out because everybody has been lifting weight equally. That's how good Falcons have been. But for BIGETRON, on the other hand, sometimes you see C-Bank just snipe away an entire team, wipe out 2 or 3 of their members without even closing in the distance. On the other hand, sometimes you got players like Koja and Kyong absolutely demolishing them in seconds by just a rush.
Well, I would say he never flinches in order to take a shot. And moving forward, we have DRS Gaming as well. MAQNA Esports, the entire roster looks very lethal, but it's, I believe, a very bad time which is going through, rough patch through which they need to push forward. There's no stop for them. Mentality reset is what they require. PE Sports, they've been consistent as well, having 83 points right now, and that's really good. Whenever you talk about the day 1 performance, day 2, let's see how well they can perform. SATUL Elite, this is one of the teams which has a lot of hopes on them, a lot of hopes and a lot of eyes as well. So let's see how well they can go ahead and get those points. They need more than 100 and I would say 25 or 130 points in order to at least reach the threshold. So that's a huge sign of warning.
Yeah, and to get to that target, SATUL Elite have actually been trying their 5 players all throughout. Like some of these teams, actually most of these teams have a substitute player, but they don't actually end up using them. So Pahadi and Mr. Jai have to actually lead their new soldiers, and they've been rotating players in and out. Let's see if it works out for them, because there's only 6 games for them to prove their worth.
Exactly. And talking about the game schedule, we have next era first. It's a very nice portal theme map which we can witness coming in the first side itself. Kalahari up next, Snipers Paradise and Bermuda. Back to the basics. Later on it is Purgatory, Solara and Alpine, through which Neptune and Lucifer, both of them are going to take you guys through with it. But the first three are super important to maintain that momentum game or even gain the confidence in this lobby.
6 games, ladies and gentlemen. That's all that stands between them and the grand finals of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. The teams of Group B have no say today, but the teams of Groups A and C, these guys will need to give it their absolute best. These will be some of the toughest 6 games that a lot of these teams have played. Especially for Indian teams who are returning to the international circuit after a very long time. It's been a while since they felt this much pressure on their shoulders.
For sure, the pressure is a lot, and in order to represent your country as well, there's going to be so many viewers watching you, supporting you, and at the same time, if you make a mistake, of course, telling that yes, that's a mistake done, which can be rectified. But the final zone, this is what we call. The talent's prediction is already out there. It's 135 points that is needed to qualify according to us. But according to you, what is the cutoff? You can go ahead and tell it in the chat section. But we can see that number 1 team reaching towards 156 points, which is IQOO Total Gaming, which soon will change, all thanks to the recent A and B groups, which action will be super intense as they have only played like 6 games. That's it. And today will be their final 6.
Yep. And it's these 6 games that stand between them and potentially the grand finals or a heartbreaking loss. The teams from Group B, as you can see on the top left, Total Gaming, Kagendra, GW and Nightmare Esports have put up respectable numbers. Lowest of them being 139. So far, all the talents, we asked everyone what they think the cutoff will be. We averaged out the score, and on an average, they need 135 points to make it into the finals. And now take a look at your right-hand side, because all these teams who are on the right-hand side will actually have a chance to change their fate today, except for maybe some teams like Red Hawks or, you know, maybe something along the lines of GB Esports. These guys have really, really less scores, and they need to perform way beyond their means in order to get there. Like, for example, BIGETRON only need 3 points, Falcons need only 5 points, but then there are teams which need 103 points, 105 points. Is it really possible for them to score 100 points in a single day? That looks very dicey. Yeah,
it
seems
looks
impossible.
very dicey. So let's see how well they understand the entire map as well. Intellect Center is one of the places where we can see DRS Gaming heading all the way towards there. It's completely empty from there. No way. I love to see the blueprint, and this blueprint is going to give us the tiny bit of the gist where the teams are going to head towards. Rust Town, one of the places where we can see NG Pros and Falcons, and this is the battle to go ahead and reminisce. Most of the times whenever we have seen Falcons and NG Pros fight, they have been very, very 50-50 towards it. It's either a win towards a team or either a loss towards the other end. It's manpower disadvantage through which the revival system is going to help a lot to bring back those players into the picture. And let's see how well these teams are going to go ahead and shape this map, this first map, to perfection.
I do hope they start their journey really well. Next Era has been one of those maps where even if you land isolated, there is a chance that you will run into multiple teams on your way into the circle. And because there's so many compounds up for grabs in the second and third circle, all the teams don't realize the amount of pressure they're in until the fifth circle devastates them and takes away most of the real estate available. Yeah, and we've seen so many of these circles where there would be like some 11, sometimes even all 12 teams alive by the end of the third circle, and they're just running around, going from vending machine to vending machine, trying to get their players back up, and then all of a sudden in the fifth circle there's like some 5 teams remaining. So next era is one of those games where the fifth circle will determine a lot.
So hopefully that the teams are going to go ahead and try and be as far apart as they can get those points, head towards the no man land, and somehow revive towards the later part of it. But talking about the casters' prediction towards who is going to be the top 3, this is right here for us. BIGETRON by Vitality is the very consistent name that I can see, Crips. Other than that, STUL, Falcons, and from your end it is Meta NINZA and GB. Would you like to explain why GB?
Oh, I thought GB was the more obvious choice. I thought you would ask me questions about MAQNA. MAQNA, in my opinion, is a more risky pick over here. And the reason I picked up NextEra for them is because if they can get their compounds really well, they avoid their fights, they are guaranteed to get into the top 3. So MAQNA has been following that compound to compound strategy really well, and I think that can work really well for them in NextEra. Of all the other maps, because it offers them way more real estate, and there's a lot more smaller compounds which nobody considers until the 5th circle, and MAQNA actually consider them. So I think they have a good chance of getting the booyah in this game. BIGETRON Vitality, I think it's very obvious, right? I don't think we need to explain it. Without even having a single booyah, they can dominate everyone. So that's fairly obvious. GB Esports. Now, GB Esports, I was very impressed by their performance in the previous day. They weren't exactly a super aggressive team, nor were they, playing passively. They were like a middle order team of sorts. But somehow in NextEra, they were able to avoid all the traps that were set for them. Like, I remember them being trapped in these third-party, fourth-party situations, and they got out of it scot-free. The only other team who have managed to, get away without any casualties has been GOW, and that is a team that's on a completely different level. Even though we won't be seeing them today, I think GB Esports is like the only team that can somehow manage to repeat that feat. And of course, the fact that they got so many booyahs out of it. So
well, that's amazing. And looking forward to see how well GB can go ahead and get the first map for themselves. At least heading towards the top 3 will be super important, as they have to climb miles and miles. I still think and I hope that the others, even though we have not taken their name, of course, don't be disheartened. They are going to perform. It's the first game. It's either make it or break it. And if they make it, it's really good, as they can go ahead and carry forward the momentum, which we would love to go ahead and see. But these teams, specifically BIGETRON by Vitality, they have been that back-breaking team of most of them, as they just focus more towards getting those eliminations. And then second part is getting the positioning. That's all right. Even if they don't get the 12 points, no booyah, no problem at all, as even 9 will be sufficing them to getting at least 30 pointers or not.
Exactly. So that's why I wasn't surprised when you picked up BIGETRON as well. Even I have it. That's one common thing we have. You picked up Falcons, again, a very aggressive team. SHUL Elite. Why SHUL Elite? They've been struggling quite a lot in this tournament. Do you actually think they can stand a chance today?
I feel that they're going to be pulling up the socks since game 1, as they need to cross the threshold and get like 105 points. 105 is no joke. And in order to get that, you need to at least have an average of 25 points each game. And that's me being extremely,
generous,
ruling about the game. It's just like a top of the head number. 25 points per game, which is equivalent to BIGETRON by Vitality game.
Yeah, that's like BIGETRON Vitality levels, because even BIGETRON Vitality, they've been struggling to maintain that 25 average. They've had a couple of games where they had only 14 and 15, so that's not going to be enough. Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be plenty of math happening all throughout the day, but let's jump into the action for now. We'll calculate the points as we go, but there's one thing that cannot be calculated, and that is the amount of firepower. You can't calculate that, you can only witness it in action. So let's witness all these teams dropping into their first game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. NextEra is up here on your screens. Intellect Center, there's a potential drop clash between MAQNA and DRS. At the same time, I expect PE Esports and AVIDA Esports to hop into each other's POIs in a matter of seconds. Similarly, Museum is under contest by NG Pros as well as GB Esports. Can NG Pros make it? They've already secured 1 knock.
First blood.
Oh, wow. Look at the way Anubhav is just constantly running around. He knows that Broken is right in front, and soon this glue wall will be broken and broken. Whether he can survive or not, that's going to be a big question, but there is no backup coming forth from GB. And this is very bad when it comes in terms with giving away some points earlier on itself. NG Pros, they just wanted this confidence, and now that they have it, they're going to keep rushing down the throats of the opponent. Kazi sir, he's way across, and Aztec, look at him. He's very aware about the whereabouts. Instantly goes in for the healing as well, so he can go in for the action without even hesitating.
2 UAVs deployed, so that should reveal all the GB Esports players. Generally, it's the responsibility of Kazi sir to keep the team alive and walk away from the action, disengage, but I don't think he'll get the opportunity to do so because Broken tries to go around the other side and SHUL find him. So now they know they're sandwiched. There's no escape for GB Esports. They have to stand their ground and fight.
And if this is the case, then GB soon, they might just evacuate from this map, which I believe will be a really bad start for them. And on the other end, I can see Met and NINZA opening guns against DRS. Well, I don't know whether this is going to be the drag reduction system that we usually call, or it's going to be a very, very bad position for them to eventually head towards the circle. So in either which case, the players are back into the picture.
Yeah, but even though GB Esports are next to the recall tower, I don't think he gets to use it. A member of IQOO Reckoning is right around the corner. MAQNA Esports Club are also heading over here. The best that Kasisar can hope for right now is that these guys use the recall tower themselves, walk away from it, and then leave him alone so he can revive later on in the game.
Oh no. What's happening here, Mr. J? Early skirmish and NG Pros with the kind of confidence that they already have. They're on a hot streak. This is the only team which is like already reached towards number 5. And the others, they're still trailing behind in SHUL. As you all can see, they are slowly but surely kicking things up a notch.
They need to kick things into high gear. Starting off well is obviously important, but it's also equally important to maintain your momentum.
Ooh.
Vincent almost had it. Legs Kyong over there. Takes a chunk of his HP away, but Meta Ninja still have just one player over here. RNS is on the other side, so they can sandwich BIGETRON, but I'm also kind of fearing their lives because there's a chance that they get isolated and exterminated one by one. Ginotra and Shanky ready to push the envelope. They land right next to BIGETRON. On top of them, Shanky drops down, takes a shot against Deeks, but the Drogon drops him.
Oh
Vincent finally gets the trade, and that's the opening that Meta Ninja needed. But they've already lost Shanky, so now it's a 3v2 battle. Vincent from on top, raining fire. Meta Ninja have 5 frags already. And if they can find Deeks over here, this should be the end of BIGETRON. All 4 of them were trapped in that. Oh, not just yet. Oh yeah, they have another player somewhere far away. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Far away. And I believe this time they're just going to be like, it's okay. Deeks
Double kill.
concedes, it's all right. But that one player, he's still surviving. And as long as he's there, then the others are going to be right down on the ground.
Wow.
Meta Ninja, that's a lovely, lovely 6-pointer that they already have. And against BIGETRON by Vitality, that is great. As BIGETRON, we know this team for their aggression, for the elimination game to be on point. And in next era, they've been completely belittled.
Yeah. Seabank does get the rest of his team back online as well. So BIGETRON back to all 4. Long Kong managed to revive almost all the players of AVIDA Esports. Of course, even after raising 3 of them, one of them has died again. SHUL also on that constant revival quest. So these vending machines are gonna be heavily occupied, and I might not even be surprised if we start seeing some vending machine camps. And that's what happens when you have all the eliminations. You have access to a vending machine and you don't need to res anyone. In that kind of a situation, you don't spend your money on getting your teammates back. You spend it on a hit list, and this time RNS has been marked for death.
Ooh, Esports calling in a rotation. Is going with their cruiser speed right now. And Dinoculus, that's of course going to be utilized by Aztec in order to get to know who's right around the corner. Nolan! Unfortunately, he was the first one to fall prey, fall victim to this entire shenanigan of getting the AC-80 shots. Aztec, very quick to reposition, and this is really good. Rice fields all across, and Aztec, he just wants to get that height advantage alongside collect a coin or 2.
Yeah, so NG Pros have been rolling really hard over everyone else. 10 eliminations to their name. Could have been the 11th one, but even though they got the knock onto a member of AVIDA Esports, AVIDA managed to res it back. I'm sorry, it was P Esports, my bad, not AVIDA.
Yeah.
AVIDA also have been fighting, but their opponents are rather far away and off our screens for the time being.
Heading all the way through boxing. The gym feels vacant for the first ever time. Crips, usually I see a lot of action in that corner. Yep. And talking about action, we can see AVIDA XKDC taking a fight against DRS. They're slowly inching in. Tawan, he's the first one to go ahead and recon, get the information onto where the opponents are. And Tawan, he's enough to take down one player. But there's some really good action, sniper action that we can witness as Falcons. They themselves would love to take a fight against AVIDA as they're the ones to lose a man count.
Yep, AVIDA down to 3 players, now down to 2 as Anusat also finds his maker. And that's the philosophy difference. Falcons spreading out only across Zipway, meanwhile AVIDA spreading out across multiple POIs. While it nets them a lot more eliminations and a lot more points, it also leaves them vulnerable. Luckily, one of the teammates, I don't know where on the map just yet, but one of the teammates is right next to a vending machine almost permanently, so he's on constant revival duty.
That's great. And moving forward, you can see some intense action going on, swing right across, but there's no lifeboat. Meta Ninja, they're taking a fight against Godlike. Godlike, are they prepared for this one? In the past times, we have seen the aggression game. It's always paying up in dividends, but sometimes they just keep faltering down, all thanks to not having enough confidence in taking those fights. But this time around, I feel Yogi is very well versed in order to understand where Meta Ninja keeps their Vincent. And Vincent, his HP is way too low, instantly safeguarding himself with the glue walls. And there's another breakthrough, which Godlike would love to take down RNS. And there you go, divide and conquer is what they say, and they get a couple of eliminations.
Yep, Vincent might have been able to get one single knock, but I'm not sure if he managed to convert it into an elimination. Inotra, he got the grenade launcher, got a couple knocks with it, but he ended up blowing himself up. That's that's a very avoidable mistake, man.
I don't think so. It was he who did that because he was busy plugging in those players back into the picture. Might be Echo. The grenade launcher did help him a lot. And with that said, oh, I just love today's fight. Look at the first map itself, showcasing so much action. Downright Hassan is down on his 1 HP, but look at GetBoo. He's the man doing the deeds. This is insane action being showcased. SHUL Elite, are they prepared for this one through? As MAQNA, they are falling down. They are falling prey to this entire action. But Bahari, he needs to wake up right about now as he's bleeding out severely.
Yeah, and this player is trying to get into him, but I don't think they'll make it over there. Arman has lost a shot. Yeah, and he escapes out of there, so that leaves Pahari to bleed out. There's a potential that Mr. Jay could have rescued him, but I don't think that's happened. And now Mr. Jay is low-key trapped over here because he's got Godlike Esports on one side and Meta Ninja right behind him, so he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to run. With that Skylar ability being used by Vincent, another one being thrown in by his teammate, I think that was another way to melt down his blue walls. Mr. Jay is basically trapped over here.
He is.
Now, the best that he can do is hope that somehow Godlike Esports focus on Meta Ninja instead, but that's not happening. In fact, Meta Ninja are being targeted by a completely different team. I believe it's Reckoning Esports and Godlike, both at the same time.
Godlike have 14 eliminations. How can they not leave that 1 point away? They would love to go ahead and devour that. Mr. J, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time. It stung him like a bee. Godlike, they're right now prioritizing circle, but before they could do much, I can see yet another team. GetBoo coming right in front. Marco, he needs to run away, evacuate as his HP. It's dwindling down. Long range shots being taken, but it's not going to help out. Godlike plugging a couple of players back into the picture, and Marco, he has all the weight on his shoulders, and he gets a 1v2. How on earth even go ahead and do that?
Double knockdown for Marco. That's ridiculously good. He's been relinquished down to 8 HP, but that's fine. He should easily be able to get the revives and the heals. Godlike Esports ready to the reset. MAQNA Esports Club right around the corner, and MAQNA Esports, before they can even venture close, they lose a player.
MAQNA, they should have chosen their fights more wisely. They had a player to check their backs, but unfortunately those glue walls alongside the pillar helped a lot. Godlike in order to survive. Nems is trying to head towards the circle, but alongside, if he gets a knock or two, that's going to be amazing, but it's going to draw a lot of attention, and that's one thing that he does not need right about now. Healing himself back to 200. Yet again, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's the kind of action that he is witnessing right now. As Godlike, they're already inside the circle, prioritizing that real estate first. So they're going to be very happy with their realtor. And I bet it's going to be a really good reward.
Yeah, unfortunately, Meta Ninja will not be rewarded for their heroics. 9 eliminations, Pretty good game, but they were the first to bite the dust, so no placement points for them. Godlike, on the other hand, have no signs of stopping. They become neighbors with AVIDA Esports. Certainly, they don't have a very friendly, neighborly relationship.
Not at
but
all.
P Esports also want to get a piece of the pie, so you can see that Godlike are getting shot by both those teams. Meanwhile, GB Esports, on the other hand, what on earth is Yakuza up to? He's destroyed 2 members of NG Pros with that grenade launcher, and there's a potential that NG Pros might just get completely knocked out of the game if they don't manage to keep their last player alive.
Oh, what? Yogi? Out in the open, what were you doing? Finding a window of opportunity? That's what Winter did. So that's 1 point, which is already long gone. Wait. Oh, what? He's back into the picture. All right, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The blue wall coming at the right time. Look at the way the hit list has completely just made the entire area red like it's a lightning zone. And that way it's on the map. DRS. Well, this is one team that I would love to go ahead and see how well they're going to take down Jans, as he's very close, right inside the compound. They're sharing, they're being very friendly, but soon this friendly nature might just vanish.
I think they don't know that Jans is over here. I mean, MAQNA Esports were being very sneaky. Reckoning Esports used the launch pad, try to get inside the zone, but they are getting focused by P Esports. Lauho gets the knock onto Ronit. Many more players might probably fall. Even Vota goes down. That's a double for Lauho. LBT gets Sohan, and Reckoning Esports are down to their last player. I don't think they make it out of this one. They try to go for the glue wall reses. Meanwhile, Falcon Esports are now focusing on DRS as well, because even DRS need to get out of that place. Jans tries to go run away. But can he survive the zone and the bullets at the same time? No, he can't.
He can't. And Falcons, they're going to get all of those points. It's a freebie. DRS. This soon might be the box situation for them. They wanted to at least head towards the circle, but unfortunately, it is going to be Falcons soaring high above the sky, knowing, keeping tabs on all of the opponents. Not a good sight there for them. Now focusing down towards the circle. Look at the way teams are just getting eliminated right back and center. There goes yet another team. And fighting for the real estate has become the key to survivability.
MAQNA Esports also fall. Yogi, he has been putting a lot of pressure onto BIGETRON Esports, but now there's more teams coming towards them. Falcons and P Esports are going to end up fighting each other, with the chance of BIGETRON and Godlike also just rolling in like a snowball.
Boy.
Limit can't hold on. LBD pumps his guts full of lead with that M590, and it's just down to On Fire. He's staying hidden behind the glue wall, hoping that P Esports focus their attention on BIGETRON instead, but BIGETRON aren't putting nearly enough pressure on them, and Godlike is capitalizing on this by firing in every direction. They finally discover On Fire, and they get him. Falcons go down at 6th.
Oh my god, Falcons. Oh, that was a lovely try by P Esports. The way they have just capitalized the entire area, it's just one sight to watch. And now Godlike, they have the height advantage. What can they do? AVIDA x KDC trying to rush down, at least get the lower half of this house will be the best decision. But Godlike, they would love to get at least a knock or two. That's where they can keep calling in their paradise. But Yogi, in the midst of all of that, he's been taken care of. And Marco, the way he's watching the backs of the entire team is lovely to witness.
GB Esports were taking pot shots at Godlike from afar, but they forgot to check their own back, and BIGETRON eliminate GB Esports. Right now, Godlike have only one hope: keep everybody else downstairs. Because as long as AVIDA Esports stay down here on the ground floor, there's a chance that they get targeted by BIGETRON as well as P Esports. So Godlike just need to maintain high ground and stay hidden long enough for AVIDA to die.
3 teams, I would say, who have some really good advantage at this point of time. P Esports, of course, AVIDA x KDC, they have a man count advantage against Godlike and BIGETRON by Vitality. BIGETRON by Vitality, this is yet again those golden opportunities that they have somehow made their way towards the top 4. And this might be it, the last straw. Marco tried his level best, but it's going to be Nolan who shuts him down. Yet another point being jotted down by P Esports.
Esports are stealing all these eliminations away left, right and center. Up at 16 for now, and there's a chance they might end with a 20+ game. All 3 teams had all their players alive, but the moment I say that BIGETRON lose 1, down to 3. AVIDA Esports, how long can they stay over here? But they will need to eventually come out into the open ground, but their glue walls are their only protection. They use the UAV light to reinforce them. but that UAV has been broken down. And now AVIDA and BIGETRON both focus on PE Esports. Only a tiny rock, that's all they have. Plushie thrown in, that's going to force them into the open on the other side, into the crosses of AVIDA. So now this is going to turn into a three-way, long-drawn Mexican standoff. It might just come down to a battle of attrition. The team that loses all their glue walls and all their heals first will be the one to bite the dust.
The only thing that is stopping BIGETRON from being one of the most lethal team is that one tiny rock. And now when the circle shifts, AVIDA x KDC, they want to pivot, and with this pivot they're gonna just go ahead and bite the dust as they're falling down into bits and pieces. Somehow managed to bring back yet again those fallen comrades. Now slowly moving in PE Esports, they would love to take a piece of the pie. BIGETRON right in front, and this is that battle which AVIDA x KDC were waiting for, were longing for, and finally the R is set clean as AVIDA, both of them focus onto BIGETRON. It's a very bad situation, but somehow those glue walls, it's helping them out to stay awake and stay safe. But Sepeng, in the midst of all of that, he's been dealt with.
Deeks, the last man standing, has to try and go for a res onto Kyong, but he doesn't get the opportunity. PE Esports pounce upon them the moment they get the chance, and they wipe out all the remaining stragglers. Shattered into tattered. PE Esports get that booyah.
LBT, we see your chibi. Oh, we see your war too.
Wow,
he's
there's a
saying that
trophy
he's
on him
gonna
already.
win the entire tournament. All right, PE Esports, we see you. My oh my, the way they were just adding more fuel to the fire. Goodness! That was just lovely to watch. BIGETRON, they were forced to go ahead and take a fight against AVIDA x KDC. And from there on, PE Sports, the kind of rendezvous that they did was supreme.
Amazing performance from PE Esports. They could have stayed where they were. They had a decent enough position, but they took the decision to go onto the right side and pivot in a way where they sandwich BIGETRON between themselves and AVIDA Esports. And then after that, BIGETRON basically had no choice but to rush either one of these teams. They decided to push towards BIGETRON instead, and that was their undoing, which basically awards PE Esports the booyah served on a silver platter.
LBT, Nolan, and the way they have performed, PE Sports for sure has received that big W in the first game, but I hope to God that they don't have the curse coming in the next following one.
Oh yeah, the curse.
Booyah curse.
I forgot about the curse. There's a saying over here, someone mentioned it. I think both Neptune as well as AJ believe in it. They mentioned that if a team wins the booyah in the first game, they don't end up winning anything else for the rest of the day. We have seen teams who have proven otherwise, but for now, PE Esports, I don't see any curse on them, only blessings, because they've been blessed with a massive 22 elimination, 34-pointer game, massive 30 bomb to start the day, and that's a strong start for PE Esports. Same with GODLIKE, 19 eliminations before they eventually went down. And you see, GODLIKE weren't even in that much danger. They were doing decently well, but with this strong start and 26 points, I think it's the best way to wake up. BIGETRON by Vitality, consistent as ever. Yet another 20-point finish for them, even though they died on the third spot. AVIDA, on the other hand, they got a little unlucky. I can't help but feel sorry for them, because BIGETRON was forced upon AVIDA without even BIGETRON actually wanting to push AVIDA down. So that was just how the cookie crumbled.
Oh, now that the Giants are clashing A and C, now I know why the groups were called the Fearsome. And with that, we can see LBT being one of the most lethal players out there. AC-80 in hand, we could understand that. Long range, close range shots were absolutely a banger of it. Moreover, having Oscar dashes just makes those glue walls even more squishy. So it's like walking through a foam or walking through a cloud. And that's where I believe 8 eliminations and 6 assists just speaks volumes.
AC-80, we saw how dangerous he was with this weapon. And it's not just the fact that he is dangerous at the snipes, not the fact that he's picked up 4,500 damage, not the fact that he's managed to get 8 eliminations. The thing that makes him very dangerous is the fact that he can also act as a semi-support character, because he's got that team booster as well as the J-Beeb's ability, and because of that he can keep his teammates sustained while also raining down fire and covering them. I also have to give credit where it's due. Nero, using the Nero was spot on. The way he used his plushie was so good because it forced BIGETRON onto the other side of that rock where they were vulnerable from AVIDA as well. And every single time he uses his Nero plushie, almost someone or the other, like maybe at least two people, are forced out of their cover. It's never a wasted ability.
Never. So I'm glad that usually wherever we see the action coming for PE Sports, who are right there, so opportunistic, and love the kind of action that we could usually witness. And buffing themselves to being such huge tanks, LBT, now it explains a lot the way he was just charging forward to get those eliminations. Absolutely banger of a performance. Nero, like you rightly mentioned, he did get a lot of information on where the opponents are, the whereabouts, the plushie, the entire action. It was through and throughout. And Nolan, well, this one dude, he was on the backlines. Even though he's a rusher, he was on the backlines and still providing the kind of support that the team needed. So overall, good amount of action all across. And look at the statistics, 5,000 plus being the highest damage, and right below that it is LBT. Lauho?
Yeah, Lauho has some really cool stats, like 5,200 damage. That's amazing. I'm actually surprised that he isn't the MVP. That being said, though, I have to point out something about Nolan. I think it's the first time in FFMAI I've seen somebody use a Homer ability. That Spiderbot doesn't do much, at least in my opinion. Or maybe I'm bad at using it. But if Nolan can make it work in a difficult lobby like this, then hats off to him. Let's take a look at the circle analysis and see how these teams made their way across. As you see, PE Esports landed in Plazaria, and then they clashed with Reckoning Esports. They also clashed with members of GP Esports. They were floating around and trying to make the lives miserable of any teams who went across Plazaria and Boxing Gym. But then, as the circle started shrinking, they were one of the first teams to pick up that central spot, and as teams started to converge around them, they had the luxury of taking pot shots at every single one that came across them. And that's how they were able to maintain pressure on MAQNA Esports, on Falcons, even NG Pros to some extent. Eventually, NG Pros went down to Falcons, but by the time that happened, look at the amount of eliminations PE Sports picked up. 3 in the 4th circle, 6 eliminations in the 5th circle, and then finally in the last circle, they managed to push the envelope and get BIGETRON to rush towards AVIDA instead of rushing towards PE Sports, and that's how they got the booyah.
I love the way BIGETRON by Vitality, they kept tabs on how many players are alive from both the teams, and they chose the better opponent, which is having like a man count disadvantage, which is AVIDA x KDC, all thanks to the skirmish earlier on against Godlike itself. So that's one of the places where this team got a capitalization, and moving forward, PE Sports, well, they were like the bigger rival that they could not pick a fight against. Imagine 3v4, of course, you're going to be outgunned, you're going to be outsmarted as well. And I love the kind of smartness that this team is bringing on board. So very happy to see such mindful gamers. And at the very end, it was PE Sports going ahead and grabbing that booyah, which is amazing. But moving forward, let's see whether they can do this yet again or not. It's very, very tough, specifically talking about these two groups. It's a clash of giants is what I can say. And we know the kind of shockwave it can produce at the end of it.
Yep, and when these giants clash, these shockwaves have a chance of crushing out some of the other teams with absolutely nothing to their name. I'm talking about teams like SHUL Elite. I'm talking about teams like DRS. At least DRS was having some strong performances in the previous day. They got a bunch of booyahs, but they did not get as many eliminations as I hoped they would. SHUL Elite also not a very impactful game from them. So that is indeed concerning. GB Esports had a lot of troubles at the beginning. They lost a lot of players, but they somehow stumbled and managed themselves. So these three teams will need to do really well in the next game as we head into Kalahari.
Kalahari, the sniper's paradise, and Refinery is one of the places that we usually talk a lot about. 4 teams heading all the way towards there. Godlike, for sure, they're going to have a really nice detour, either head towards the maze or head towards confinement, because these two areas are one of the spots where they love taking a fight against. BIGETRON by Vitality, Council Hall, alongside SATUL Elite. This is one of the places or the battles that I would love to see. Shrines being the heavily populated, second heavy populated spot, through which Mammoth is completely empty. Oh, well, the blueprint seems to be completely misleading, but I would love to see if the teams will reposition and head towards their XYZ locations.
Yeah, so we know that GODLIKE and AVIDA will drop towards Refinery. There's a potential
For
drop
sure.
clash over there. NINZA will definitely go towards the sub. NG Pros, while they may not go to Shrines necessarily, but they do love that northern part of the map. So there's a chance they split up across Oldhampton, Shrines, and maybe even Council Hall. BIGETRON also, they split up between Council Hall and Confinement. I love their Confinement battles. They're really good at it. But
Right.
SATUL, I don't know where they're going to be placed because Pahadi has changed his team's drop location so many times. I've seen him favor Santa Catrina as well. I've seen him favor the northeastern part of the map as well. So there's no saying where SATUL will go. And right now, their drop location becomes even more important because they are the teams that are in desperate need of points.
Desperate need of points. But let's see whether the kind of prediction that we give will reach towards the top 3 or not. I've, of course, gone for BIGETRON by Vitality. Their performance in this particular map is just insane whenever it comes to getting those eliminations. NG Pros, well, Mr. Consistent, hashtag consistent, alongside PE Sports, all thanks to the previous game's performance. They have been embarking a really good journey. I would love to see them carry forward with a similar kind of momentum and not lose to all thanks to the curse of getting the booyah.
Yeah, I actually was confused between GODLIKE Esports and NG Pros because both of them had good performances on Kalahari, but the way NG Pros, they kind of threw their Kalahari game yesterday. That's why I've not picked them up as one of my predictions.
Okay.
I've put GODLIKE in their place instead. And P Sports is an obvious choice because, I mean, obviously, yeah, you saw what they did in the last game. The choice about DRS, that is a calculated one for me because I believe DRS don't necessarily play well on Kalahari, but given how well they managed to keep themselves alive up until the final circle, they're going to end up walking away with at least 15 eliminations, if not the booyah.
You know, here's the thing about DRS that I've witnessed. Usually, whenever they play in compounds, they last themselves longer, but whenever it comes to the open fields, and I hope it's not going to be the similar kind of a luck moving forward in Kalahari. If it is in open fields, then it's problem for this entire squad as they cannot keep tabs on where the opponents are. Usually what happens is four players checking their backs or checking either of the corners, understanding from where the teams are rotating, and they just constantly understand that this is the way they have to play in certain places. But sometimes they just get so focused towards one particular spot. It's like laser focus. When you take a cat, when you have a cat right in front of you and you have that pointing laser, right, and you're like pointing it towards that one spot, DRS just focuses towards that spot. They need to be more dynamic when it comes to taking those fights, and I would love to see them have this character growth.
Yeah, and if that character growth has to come through, it has to come through now. Today's the last day. No more choices after this. No more opportunities after this, ladies and gentlemen. 5 more games to go before we find out our top 12 finalists. Are you ready for the second game of the day? Because I surely am. It's time to take it to the dunes. It's time to drop this blood all over the sand and turn it crimson. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Kalahari.
Kalahari, the sniper's paradise, and I love the flight path. It's gonna give every single team the necessity of heading towards their following drop zones or locations. And in the early skirmish itself, we can see GODLIKE being completely pelted by LBT.
I expected AVIDA versus GODLIKE over here, not P Esports versus GODLIKE. And GODLIKE have already lost 3.
Whoa!
They sent one player packing. Sent him away, I think, towards Bayfront or maybe somewhere towards the the eastern side rather. And that's Yogi. Yeah, look. Poor guy, he just has to stay hidden.
Oh my god. He's right next to GB Esports. Oh no. This is not at all a good side. Broken. He smells blood. He's hungry for that point. And Yakuza, he's just rushing. As long as he can check those corners. Oh my god, he has an alligator as well. Oh no, no, no. Yogi, you better run away. You better have that grappling gun.
And if he uses the binoculars, I think that will confirm that there's a straggler over here.
Yeah.
They're checking every single nook and cranny. Meanwhile, P Esports have found another target in Refinery. That's Meta Ninja.
Oh no. Inhalers on. Yogi. This is such a nerve-wracking position, and godlike. In the early few minutes, they get eliminated. Oh my god. That's not at all a good record for them, specifically in Kalahari. Usually, they're the ones to go ahead and get those eliminations around the corner, but being the first team to be eliminated, that stings.
MAQNA Esports Club now fighting AVIDA Esports near Stone Ridge. It's a rather bit of a privilege because there's no potential third party on the horizon, so they can focus on just fighting each other. GODLIKE has been rezzed. But here comes Jans. He sees these two players cross his window. Doesn't manage to confirm the elimination, so Winter sprays them down with the cord. Now Nem's on top. He has to stop the one from coming through. He drops the chrono shield and he tries to run away with the grappling gun, but the one pumps him down with the Trogon. And that leaves GODLIKE and Ramiel all by themselves. GODLIKE at least has managed to get away. Ramiel landed in a completely different spot, far away from AVIDA. So yeah, MAQNA Esports Club will avoid trouble for the time being.
Yeah, they are definitely going to avoid all of the troubles. But Tawan, he would love to go ahead and get that point, but this time he's going to land right across Arman. The moment Tawan landed on the ground, Arman just took a detour. He's like, wait a second, let me punch right across and understand what's happening here. And beat Yao by Vaita.
Oh my god!
This was a really good initiation. And for a second, I just thought that what's happening here?
Yeah, because Reckoning Esports just sent one of their players towards that fallen guy. They thought that BIGETRON might not have finished the rest so far, but they were ready to intercept him mid-air. Drop him down. Rota finds C-Bank's head. NINZA finds Koja, and that's 2 knocks for Reckoning Esports. Here comes the push from Bota, up close with his M590. He's trying to get the shots onto Kyong, and he finally goes around the other side of his glue wall. Deeks tries to get the trade, confirms the elimination too. But does he have time to get his teammates back up on their feet? The res already stuck. He's got no Tiva, so it's a lengthy revive. But he still managed to get it done, and Reckoning Esports are giving them way too much room to work with.
A lot of room. And there you go, yet another player, Deeks. My oh my, this team is so soundful. And all this time, I thought that it could have been a really good opportunity for IQOO Reckoning to at least plug a player or two. But in the midst of that, Deeks just catches him napping and instantly hits a snooze button. Go back to sleep, team. As BIGETRON by Vitality, they continue their reign of supremacy.
Deeks indeed is the messiah of this supremacy. He's the damage leader for the time being. And he will continue to be the damage leader until someone overpowers him and farms up a lot more damage. But for now, you can see exactly why BIGETRON Esports have been a force to be reckoned with. This is exactly why they've been the most consistent team and the most dangerous team in the lobby.
Oh. Well, AVIDA. All eyes on them now. Wow. Just trying to scope in, scope out. Get at least some TP. Or just stay hidden. Doesn't matter. Falcons. They themselves are having a very nice roam around the corner. As there's one member of BIGETRON by Vitality right in front. That's 1 point that Falcons can go ahead and get. Koja. He thought that he knew better about the situation, but eventually he fades away, perishes in the midst of that.
C-Bank gets Koja back online. But that was a nice flank from Falcons Esports. Pina instantly got that grenade damage, and the moment he took that damage, he puts up a glue wall, goes around the other side, tries to go for the wraparound. And BIGETRON, they lose their players against Falcons. Sure, they can always get them back. But now Falcons have activated a hit list, and that one is
against P
I believe on P Esports,
yeah.
Meanwhile, DRS, they also have a hit list, and that one is up against GB Esports, Qazi sir. And keep in mind, Qazi sir's responsibility generally is that of keeping the team alive by staying away from the cluster. So yeah, if they find Qazi sir, there's a chance that GB Esports might just crumble.
Launch pads, rotations, Falcons. They love to just go ahead, understand what's happening in the entire map. And look at the way they just set foot in another skirmish. This is gonna help them out. Esports right in front, and that's the thing, right? They had a hit list against them, which is gonna give them a really good benefit overall in this situation. Taking shots against GB just to get the additional bit of the points. That's amazing, and that's a really good landing. Duck, through which the elimination is imminent.
Esports versus DRS versus Falcons.
LBT?
That knock with the M590 is amazing. He even finds Keroro. That's some really good stuff. But GB Esports might just steal that elimination away from P Esports. Poor Keroro. He works so hard to get it. But Yakuza is just farming all these eliminations. He's getting all these freebies.
Double kill.
Smartness. And of course, he had the Winchester. Where is the last man standing? Where is he surviving? P Esports on the brink of elimination. As long as that one final dude is surviving, LBT, the entire team might just get rest upon Ghazi, sir. How does that feel as a sniper? Seabang just takes him down. The others forming a cluster in order to survive for a longer time, and they need to stake that revival onto Ghazi, sir. But Ghazi, sir, is way too far, and taking that escape route is much more easier than taking a fight against BIGETRON by Vitality.
Yeah, and GB were marked for that. They had a hit list on top of them, especially on Kazi sir. So if he goes down, it's understandable. At least that main trio is alive. BIGETRON, on the other hand, now they must get back into the zone. They've been terrorizing the entire northwestern periphery of the circle. They go from Bayfront to Foundation, and they've just been trying to get every team that has been on this side of the map. And now finally they run into Falcons yet again for the second time.
You know, there are certain teams who are very isolated in this map specifically. Usually, they are very explosive whenever it comes to getting those eliminations. I'm talking about NG Pros, I'm talking about NINZA. All of them are so quiet right now. Where are they? They're just surfaced underground, and soon they might be that lurking Lamborghini that we usually talk about.
The lurking Lamborghini. Aren't Lamborghinis supposed to be like super loud, super flashy? How is that supposed to be lurking? And
that's the kick,
how is that supposed to be sneaky? I think that's a bit of a paradoxical statement. Anyway, we can discuss automobiles some other day. For now, I want to discuss what Falcons Esports are still doing over here outside the zone. Sure, it's just the second zone, you can tank the damage, but speaking of zone, here's MAQNA Esports and DRS fighting each other in the sub right outside the zone. DRS were not anywhere close to the sub, so I don't know why they've gone for a southern rotation. They thought it would be safe, but they didn't expect to run into MAQNA Esports Club over here. Asalu gets eliminated, and MAQNA Esports gets Nem back up online. So they are back down to, they are back up to a 4-man squad, and there's a chance that they might just get DRS all the way down to 0. Takuri gets cornered, and he finds Jans. Even Ketfu's here for backup. So DRS are falling like flies. Their last guy has to run away.
Well. This is all thanks to the grappling hook. The way MAQNA is just rotating, it's just lovely to witness. And getting those 2 points showcases that this team can go ahead and rack up some more of them. But it's just a slow start. They need more eliminations to go. We've already reached towards the third circle, and still there are like so many teams alive and kicking. But this one spot, the wreckage ship. Whether will it give Esetuel the wrecked fate, or it's going to give a good one, let's see that real soon.
So Pahari does indeed pick up Santa Catrina. I was like partially correct about their drop locations. But then again, that's not exactly a feat to boast about. NINZA, NG Pros, they are all starting to huddle up around this area. I think these guys have figured out that the zone might end somewhere in this area. And sure, if it goes anywhere towards the little houses, you will be fine. But if it goes towards the actual ship, it's going to be very claustrophobic. AVIDA, still on the edge, have no reason to hurry into the zone. There's nobody potentially gatekeeping them. They have plenty of chances to go around and avoid NINZA as well as NG Pros. So AVIDA don't need to worry much. Unless MAQNA Esports land behind them, and then AVIDA are not ready for that. That's a completely different equation.
But what's it gonna look like? NG Pros right beside. MAQNA still making the way in. AVIDA Are they aware about the whereabouts of the opponents? If yes, then it's a good sight. And from long across, I can see DRS trying to reach inside the circle. So I don't know whether it's going to be a really good call coming in from there, and as only a couple of players are still alive. AVIDA x KDC trying to initiate this battle. They just have 5 eliminations in the pocket and 4 more right in front. It's MAQNA. They're marking their way inside the entire circle. AVIDA, they would love to take a long rotation. Crips, this feels like a really good cause for them to at least get this fight done right, dusted in the beginning itself. Else, third parties are gonna come through real soon. Nero? Wait, he's inside that spot and Shanky's right across? Of course he's going to be shanked to death.
Oh, there you go. Indeed, Shanky shanks him with the shotgun, and that's the end of PE Esports. Meanwhile, AVIDA and MAQNA Esports, this was a long-awaited encounter. MAQNA Esports were entering the zone late, and AVIDA Esports find them. BTR also get eliminated in the process. But MAQNA Esports, they didn't have much to their name. They only have 2 elimination points before they got finished off over here. So AVIDA will be very happy that MAQNA Esports basically came and donated all their points to them.
They'll be very happy. But this one team trying to grease their wheels and reach inside, at least take a battle against NG Pros. But before they could take this, they've been tracked by the enemies. And I bet it is going to be Falcons who will soon interject in this battle between the two teams. Good nades being tossed in, but the instant revival is going to help a lot. But this barrage of nades for Speedies is just going to eliminate the entire team. NG Pros, they thought they knew better. They knew for a fact that they can survive for a longer time. But with this kind of a nade being barraged right at them, that was a nuke.
Speedy elimination from Speedies. That nade eliminated 5 players. That's a chunky nade. And you're right, it's not just a nade. At that point, it's a bloody nuke. They went from 4 eliminations to 9 in a matter of seconds, and now they control this entire periphery of the zone. They are in the center. They can take shots at anyone they want. And that might be a good thing and bad, because there's a chance they get just crunched by every single team. SHUL and NINZA are fighting their own battle on the edge. But Falcons Esports, they're going for a 3-1 split, and On Fire is venturing into the center of the circle, slowly creeping up on them. Somehow Arman blew, he's a vulture, but somehow Arman blew himself up with a grenade. I think that's a mistake that should have been avoided by SHUL.
Yeah. Kind of they can bring him back into the picture. Yeah, there you go. Healthy. And alongside that, NINZA, they would love to take a fight as SHUL Elite. They're very weak with the man counter disadvantage, which is rolling in their pockets. But look at Hassan, he's still trying to keep that positive mindset. The mentality never changes of this team, and there you go, GB. That's the kind of revenge even NG Pros would love to see, as that single nade just evacuated the entire team. Falcons, they are soaring high with confidence, and slowly but surely they are reaching in, getting those gaps and the periphery checked where teams cannot hide for a longer time. Arman, way too low of HP, yet again on the brink of falling down. He's gonna come back into the picture very soon.
And that's what happens when you don't have Steffi's graffiti. You are so vulnerable to those nades, because right now SHUL are being targeted by both AVIDA as well as NINZA. Shanky, Aran and S know that they must eliminate SHUL. They're the only direct threat to them. And SHUL now are getting rushed by Falcons as well. They just cannot catch a break. Winter with one more. Long Kong finds another one. And it's just Hassan. He's managed to cocoon himself inside. He breaks the glue wall through the Oscar dash, tries to duel against Falcon, but Keroro blows him up with that grenade launcher, and Keroro continues his reign of terror. Limit finds AVIDA's member Winter with a landmine. So that's how Falcons protect their backlines. But now in that chrono, they rest Keroro and they reset yet again.
So smart. This team is built for lasting for a very long time. AVIDA x KDC, they tried the level best, and the point at which SHUL were trying to hit Falcons, that was the time for AVIDA to call in for those shots, but they just stalled for a really long time, and that stall is gonna sting them a lot. Keroro right around the corner, time turner being equipped yet again in order to revive Limit X7, and Limit X7, he'll be back into the picture. NINZA, they would love to take this fight, but Arman is still surviving. How on earth is SHUL still alive? They're trying to make it towards the last few teams, and they would love to get that 9 point, but he's going to be found. And there you go, on fire, just launching all of the shots with the M590 and annihilating any and every team which comes right in front. Team Falcons, this is their booyah.
Falcons soaring high above the rest of the lobby, showcasing dominance and T-posing over them. What good discipline from this team. They knew exactly when to rush upon SHUL, and they knew that they would be vulnerable to AVIDA if they go in for the full send against SHUL. So they placed down some landmines which slowed down AVIDA just enough to let them res Keroro again. And then Keroro in turn reses Limit X7. So the way they cover their backlines, the way they help each other back up on their feet, it is phenomenal. That is the characteristics of a World Championship class team.
Oh, that's right. So many belts under their name. And for a reason. Arman, my god, the cocoon, it did not help him out. Look at the way On Fire was like right on top of the monster truck, getting the control over the situation. And even RNS could not do much there. Meta NINZA, they did stall the fight till the very end, but third party was the way to go for them in order to at least get those elimination points on their name. But staying hidden did not benefit them at all towards the very end. This is that one team who was just all out in getting vengeance, in getting blood drawn, and getting those elimination points alongside the Booyah.
Yep. And it's not just the firepower or the way they help each other up, it's also the situational awareness. Like, they knew that SHUL will have a rat somewhere hiding so that he can just get the placement points. And yeah, sure, SHUL outlived AVIDA, so they get 1 extra placement points, but Falcon find him nonetheless. And that's how you knew this team is super meticulous, they are super thorough, and they don't leave any stone unturned in their pursuit of excellence. Falcons with 33 points in total, 21 eliminations. That's a big game so far. The two teams that have managed to score booyahs have both hit 30 bombers. That's how you know this day is going to be explosive.
Ooh, Esports, alright, they did fall prey. They just have like 7 points on the name, but the elimination games, it looked really good from that end. But eventually reaching towards a mark through which Falcons have already surpassed the limit. They've, I believe, reached #1 position by just singly performing in this game. SHUL Elite just 11 points. Well, that's not gonna give the cutoff that they need in order to at least qualify for this tournament. So they need to buckle up and showcase even better performance. AVIDA XKDC, as usual, consistent. But the other teams who we thought they're going to do very good when it comes to Kalahari, NG Pros, and Godlike Esports, well, they have fallen flat.
Yeah, that was a miss from our end. We both predicted those names, but hey man, don't blame us for the Custer's curse. That is completely not our fault. Even IQOO Reckoning had a terrible game. So that's 3 Indian teams who are struggling, but Meta NINZA actually managed to do quite well. They avoided all these battles really well, especially against SHUL. So kudos to them. But let's take a look at the standings for today. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, these are not the overall standings which will determine the top 12 teams. These are just the standings for these two teams today. And as you can see in the first 2 games, DRS and MAQNA Sports Club have not done all that much. So they will need a comeback in these 4 remaining games. The same goes for SHUL Elite and IQOO Reckoning. At least IQOO Reckoning doesn't need 100-something points to make it, right? So SHUL Elite garnering only 19 in the first 2 games. That is dangerous for them because they now need to farm 80-something points in just 4 games. That's an average of 20 points per game. Very difficult to maintain.
That's right. So let's see how well they can perform. But this one person that we are going to talk about, the MVP, the kind of performance that he has put where Team Falcons have reached towards the pinnacle, has been one of the most significant or the pivotal plays of this entire game. Well, has to be Pina. Well, he was sipping his tropical drink alongside getting those eliminations as well.
I love the pun that you made over there about the drinks. Really cool stuff. Falcons Esports. Now I'm not really surprised seeing a Coda in their team composition. Kind of gotten used to it. And while they are one of the only teams that can use it really well, these guys, they use that information. Oh, that kind of explains how they figured out where the last member of SHUL was, because I thought Arman was hidden really well. He was in a little cocoon of glue walls. And if they use the code, if they pop it and then they reveal all the remaining stragglers, they can make sure that there's nobody backstabbing them. They can make sure that they are not getting flanked by any surprises. So yeah, it really helps them in the last circle when they can establish their dominance, and all that information will then help them find all the stragglers. MVP with the M590, 2,300 something damage. So that's pretty good for him.
Oh, true. And here's the thing, right? When you're popping Coda, you get a warning sign right in front of you. And I bet once you crouch or you prone, your information will not be leaked. But Dirky on the other end, the bet itself is so significant that the moment you start healing or you're using a medkit or the opponent's HP is low, you get revealed instantly. So Pina has been a significant player right there to get the information. Moreover, I love the way On Fire was just jumping around Kaka's bodies and just getting those eliminations for the team. Keroro on the other end, the nade that was dropped on GB Esports, it was a nuke. And those eliminations, they just kept rolling in their pockets. So overall, a team composition with coolness, with calmness, and alongside with a lot of aggression.
A lot of aggression indeed. When all 4 of your players have more than 2,000 damage, that's when you know you are a team that is worth fearing. 2,300 on Pina. And the funny part is the MVP has the least number of damage points. So, like, if that's the MVP, I can't even imagine what his other teammates will be cooking. 2,500 on Kiroro, 3,145 on Fire, Limit X7 crossing the limits of 2,900. Great performance from the entire team as they all contribute equally to the Booyah.
True that. And now it's time for us to punch the compass and understand what's just happened here. How did teams crumble at the word go itself? Yeah, godlike. Circle 1. And there you go. That was the first flat line that we could see. And the others slowly making their way through towards circle number 2. Oh, wait. IQOO Reckoning as well. They went flat there. I could understand. The others were trying to get those eliminations and they looked pretty clean. So circle number 3, no mishaps at all. And circle number 4 is the place where teams did not even get to set foot in. Oh my god.
Yeah, now you see how well Falcons play. GB has the better spot, so they focus on them. Let SHUL also do the dirty work for them, a little bit of bizzing. But the moment Falcons start to push in towards the center, you see how they knew that AVIDA was behind them. They set up a fielding for them, and they basically protected their backline, and that's how they were able to win the Booyah. They were basically the Northern Hunters. You saw Falcons go from Shrines all the way back down to Bayfront, and then they were just roaming around at Northwestern Corridor. They even went towards Oldhampton for a bit, just basically wiping out the players of DRS, PE Sports on the way, forcing them to res again and again and again, farming those elimination points before they even enter the final circle.
You know, they were running rampant, Crips. And this is, I believe, one of the best performances that we can ever see in the map of Kalahari. But moving forward, in order to keep the similar kind of momentum, things are going to be very shaky or wonky as it's the default map for most of the teams. So what they know, how they understand, how teams play, it's all out there. It's like an open book. So that's where I would say that teams now need to start buckling up from here forth. Whatever is done, it's done. It's all right. You can have that mentality reset onto what just negative has gone through. Positivity, that's the only thing that I need to focus towards, and Bermuda is one of those maps which will help them in order to gain that confidence back.
Yep, it could either help you gain your confidence back if you have a nice stable game, or you could get completely destroyed because it's much harder to run around and revive your teammates in a map like Bermuda. So let's take a look at the drop spots that might determine which one of these teams might just face early eliminations.
Ooh, Sentosa, alright. DRS and AVIDA XKDC. DRS needs to buckle up. They have not been able to perform that well. The moment their DRS gets activated, it's someone or the other trying to overtake them. So that's one of the places that they need to start focusing upon. Peak, one of the places where IQOO Reckoning usually enters towards. And Godlike, they love Bhima Shakti strip. So Katulistiwa, Bhima Shakti strip, and heading all the way from there to Peak. That would be a lovely rotation from there. And Clock Tower, a couple of teams, which is SHUL, Elite, alongside MAQNA. Okay.
Yeah.
To see.
That is way too many. I don't know, man. It's like too many teams over here. I'm very worried about all the teams who are trying to drop towards Mill. Sure, you can always go towards Riverside, Plantation and whatnot. Even Katulistwa is not that occupied. But if you go towards Katulistwa, you might run into NG Pros and Falcons. I do believe Godlike will stay true to their prediction. They're going to drop towards Peak.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure. AVIDA might split drop across Mars Electric and Sentosa. That's what we saw them do yesterday. Same with DRS. We saw Kazi sir alone go towards Sentosa while the rest of his team was in Pochinok. So we might just see split drops from these two teams. But that cluster in Mill, what is going to happen over there? I have no idea. And usually when I can't predict something, it makes me excited. Today it's making me nervous.
Oh, very nervous. Trust me, they would love to head towards Mill and milk all the points that they can usually get from that very spot. I know it's going to be a clash of titans in that corner, but I believe it's going to be legend. Wait for it, Derry.
Yep. Nice little How I Met Your Mother reference over there. Saw you also drop in a couple of DRS references for all the F1 fans in chat.
But
these teams will have to be... Yeah, these teams will have to be like F1 cars right now. They're going to have to speed up and race into the top 12.
And in order to speed through, right, Crips, I know for a fact that DRS has a lot of potential in them, but it's just that few decisions here and there. It's just making them shaky, and it's because of that they're just not able to reach towards the final podium finish, right? We usually love to see that. Those podiums are going to give you some good points. 12, 9, 8. These are the three things that you can get. And alongside our predictions. That's, of course, I don't know whether it's going to be on point or not, but of course, we both have chosen Falcons, also reason of their performance. Game number 1, top 3.
Yeah.
Or top 4. Oh, wait, they were not there. Oh, game number 2, top 3. Oh, wait, they got a booyah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's how they play.
Yeah. I mean, they've been super consistent, so we always expect to see them in the top 3, top 4 something. They got a booyah in the last game, so that kind of tells you why they need to be feared. Also, I see that you've gone for P Esports alongside BIGETRON by Vitality. Those are also very, very consistent teams on Bermuda. I think they are all going to have like 15 plus eliminations. And there's a very likely chance that one of these 3 will even win the booyah. But I am giving AVIDA a chance in this particular map, and I'll tell you why. It's because AVIDA are really good at camping those vending machines and those recall towers. And in a map like Bermuda, it's much harder to get there anyway. That's why I think AVIDA will have a good time in this game. Like, generally, AVIDA are a really strong team, but in Bermuda, they generally struggle. Today, I don't think they will struggle. NG Pros, of course, I think they're going to have a field day. They're just going to go all out and then make this entire lobby into their own personal elimination farm points. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's hop into this game. I've been itching to cast a Bermuda game since the last time, and it was a lot of fun. I generally get cut out of the Bermuda rotation. I end up casting the other maps, but it's been so long since I casted this game. Let's get into the action.
Well, Bermuda for you, ladies and gentlemen, as we all are going to enjoy this one thoroughly, as most of the teams, they're trying to fuel their fire. So far, they have not been able to do it, but this time, I believe this OG map is going to help them reignite what they have lost.
Potential drop clashes. Yeah, it's a very even flight path, right? Bisecting the map in half just vertically. Only BIGETRON heading towards Mill. I mean, we expected a 4-team cluster over here, but we might just see that cluster in Bhima Shakti strip because GB Esports, Meta NINZA, as well as MAQNA Esports Club are split dropping across Katuliswa and Bhima Shakti.
He's gonna send this one through. Lovely Skylar ability coming into the picture. And this CEO is for sure entertaining us. Right off the bat, good elimination. And post this, manpower disadvantage is gonna sting MAQNA a lot. Raymil, his HP is low, but he would love to take a skirmish yet again.
Raymil, indeed, he needs to reset quickly because he's not gonna catch much of a break. Meta NINZA, on the other hand, have now started to target GB Esports. There's one single vending machine in availability over here, and Getpoo wanted to get there, but he will be sprayed down by Speedies and his Max 7. Shanky, on the other hand, does get to the vending machine. So that's nice. Ramiel trying to scan some threats. Reckoning Esports, on the other hand, have started fighting DRS in a completely different location. But this fight between Meta NINZA and GB Esports intensifies even further. They figured out that Shanky was towards the vending machine, so they all just rushing towards him. And RNS needs to get that knock, but Speedies and Broken win their duels. And GB Esports are down with just one player. Their teammates have the chance to get this vending machine again. And yeah, there you go. The res has come through already. But NG Pros don't let MAQNA Esports Club survive, and they are going to be the first team to bite the dust.
Lovely knuckle cluster there, Kazi sir, and now upgrading every single thing to level 1 to whatever he can get. Kazi sir has been that pivotal player for GB Esports, and I would love to see more action coming in from his end. Asalu, I can see he is going all crazy there. I believe it's towards peak itself as IQOO Reckoning. They have landed there towards that very spot, and the others have landed here and there, through which SHUL Elite, they're trying to farm those points.
SHUL Elite had a rather slow start, but dropping in factory allows them the luxury of having that nice start where you get all the loot and then you can get towards Pochinok.
You better be careful.
The Esports don't know the DRS is right behind them, and they knew that there's going to be somebody near the vending machine. Unfortunately, Meta NINZA have been taken down in the process, but Reckoning Esports, they thought that they were safe. DRS had a trap laid out there for them, but yeah, DRS also cannot do much. And Vota and Ninja will come back.
So far, the teams are looking healthy. Falcon, one player, has faced a lot of brunt. He's going to be back with his 200 HP. The others, slowly but surely, getting those shots on point. The one. I love the marksman rifle that he has currently, which can give a lot of benefit and long Kong. This man with the woodpecker, he just loves to devour those points. Godlike, they're in grave danger. They're very close to one another. And Yogi, in the midst of all of that, he has somehow found that escape route. Echo, the last man standing, who will love to stall the time as long as Yogi reaches towards a safe spot. And that he did.
Yeah, Yogi now has to carry the torch forward for his team. He's the baton bearer, and that's a massive responsibility to bear. Gets into the car, races ahead to the nearest possible vending machine. Meanwhile, all the other teams have had their opportunity to reset. Reckoning just managed to revive their players in Pochinok, and there was a single member of DRS over there present to gatekeep them, you know, not necessarily gatekeep, more like camp the vending machine. But DRS find another member of Reckoning Esports yet again. So that's a rather unending battle. Godlike also have found their footing. Yogi sacrifices his life, but he gets the res on 3 of his teammates.
Binoculars, additional information. That's one thing that SHUL Elite needs at this point of time. Couple of eliminations. That's not gonna give the cut. There's a lot of weight on their shoulders. So that itself is a big warning for them to start performing. This is like the mid segment of all the maps, and Bermuda. Things can never get better than just this. And GB is one of the teams that I would love to look forward towards. They have the fire on them. They're performing so darn good when it comes to this specific map. Like it.
Yep. I like it too. Oh, P Esports, they thought they'd be safe towards the edge of the map, but Reckoning Esports are here. Sohan finds Lohao. He knows he's getting into the house. Meanwhile, do they know that P Esports have another teammate somewhere far away? Oh, now they don't need to worry. P Esports just take their own launchers and get away from here. 2 players, 2 different launchers, 2 different directions. And LBT gets Nolan and Nero upstairs again. Yeah, I think they both these teams were trying to go towards the vending machine, but P Esports recognize that, hey, this is not a good spot. Let's get away from here. Hassan, though, nice knock onto Nancy.
Well, whenever you see a Winchester in someone's hand, expect eliminations coming through and throughout. Godlike will not like this at all. They've been stung by AVIDA XKDC, now by SHUL Elite as well, so what's next? They do not like going away empty-handed.
Ooh, I don't know about empty-handed, but these two teams who dropped towards the northern part of the map have been itching to fight each other, and now we might finally get to see that battle. Cropsy and Anubhav are the only ones here. Their teammates Aztec and Manu are very far away, so this is basically a 2 versus 3.
But that was a really good isolation. Pina, he had the height advantage, but down to his just mere HP made him run away from that battle. Oh, lovely grenade launcher, but Keroro, unfortunately, he could not meet the cut. Cropsy, he's been popping off even in the previous game. Right now, it's a really big test for him. Grenade launchers all across, alongside those melters. It's just giving Cropsy no room to breathe. And Pina, he's just loving to aggress and rush forward. Anubhav in the midst of all of that has been taken care of, so there is no cross shots that can come through. And Cropsy, well, he's a Crops right next to the graveyard.
Triple elimination for Kedoro. That's Falcons taking control of the northwestern sector. However, there are still 2 members of NG Pros who did not even participate in this battle. One of them actually survived. So, yeah, now the responsibility rests on his shoulders to find another vending machine. But that's the problem. As we approach the 3rd circle, as the second one starts shrinking, the number of vending machines available to you are going to be cut in half. So, it's going to be that much harder.
Mr. J, just casually going for a drive-by, just notifying that we exist, we are right here. And if that happens, BIGETRON by Vitality, they will not take those punches back. They would love to go ahead and keep penalizing each and every one who just comes right in front of them. Fahadi, height advantage, that's the only thing that will help him out, as he's the most impactful sniper out there. But for that, he needs to be very quick. And Pyong, as long as he's alive, those quickness will be on his shots.
Hassan found, needs to run. Hassan's teammates providing some cover fire from afar. Pahari tries to cover his escape, but Pahari himself is getting pressured. So now it's up to Arman to somehow use his grenade launcher and get the knocks onto Kwong and Deeks. Seabank finds Pahari. That's the sniper battle lost by Pahari. Deeks trying to go around the other side. Even the chrono has been deployed. He dashes right through into the face of Arman, into the time turner. They try to do the bubble dance, and SHUL will not be able to keep up with the footwork of BTR.
Oh my god, and SHUL, they have received some BTS here. BIGETRON by Vitality, they have been super impactful when it comes to understanding what's happening next. Always a couple of steps ahead, helps them out in the fight, and overall the way Pahari was about to get the height advantage and snipe down a couple of the birdies, he did not get the opportunity to do that. So down goes the entire team.
Now as we head in towards this circle, you might see that there's plenty of real estate, but very soon the circle will be just half the size it is now. So all these teams who are feeling safe, teams like GODLIKE Esports who got the eastern part of Bhima Shakti strip under their control, will probably have to move towards the western part of it near the silos. Clock Tower and Hangar, both unoccupied. I'm actually still surprised that these recall towers are available, all these vending machines are available, and nobody's going for them. There's a chance that BIGETRON might go for it because they lost one player in their skirmish against SHUL. So they can probably access the recall tower in Pochinok itself, tank the blue zone damage. Reckoning Esports, they might have a little bit of trouble. Same with P Esports, they're heading very close to AVIDA.
And now looking at the circle, it's right outside in the open. And nobody's going to be camping any of those recall towers, as every single one of them is super healthy with 4-man squad. And yeah, it's really good that you have a couple of vending machines right across. All thanks to GB. Well, the positioning is really good right next to Katlistiva, and they have a vending machine as well in order to go ahead and access it. But looking at the rotation, which IQOO Reckoning is calling in right on to DRS, that seems like a big warning sign.
Wow.
And Ronet has been taking care of it.
DRS. These guys are dangerous.
Wait, what happened? Did that plushie just bounce off and not reach towards the right target? Oh yeah, that's one of the losses.
At this point, I kind of think that Reckoning Esports do not want to engage anymore. I mean, that would be the right call. there's plenty of teams, and if they try to go for the full send, there's a good chance that Falcon might step into third party. So right now, all they can do is just take long-range pot shots at E-Toucher and hope that they can burn down the resources of the other team.
That's where I feel that Sohan, he needs to up his glue wall game. He just has a couple of them. That's not going to help you in the longer run. So let's see how well this team is going to jot down those things together as DRS. Look at them. Oh my goodness. The entire house has been fortified. Windows shut. Doors shut. Opportunities? None.
And now the opportunity is heading towards them. Rushing out of the house are Reckoning Esports. DRS want to keep them at bay. They want to keep them into the blue zone. And with all of this, Reckoning Esports will be forced to get inside, but they are very careful about the potential landmines over here. Look at Babin. He drops down to the ground, challenges Sohan head on. Same with Thakuri. They both drop out of the windows, and now the battle is outskirts of the house. Asalu gets shot in the back. Ninja with that Akimbo pistol will get one more. It's up to Stroex. He pulled off a 1v2 Booyah last time, but now he has to pull off another 1v2 again. Vota, meanwhile, finds the opportunity, goes for the res instantly. Stroex, unfortunately, doesn't have the same luxury. He has to cut his losses short and get the hell out of that place.
I mean, I don't understand Stroex. What was he doing inside the compound? The first nade was a banger. He got an elimination. From there, that knock, it did help overall the team to build some kind of a really nice response game. But eventually, he just sat inside like a duck. And this is not going to help them out in the longer run. But there's another team, GB, I believe, who just got evacuated from this entire map. AVIDA XKDC taking the fight against PE Sports. And let's see how well they can land that final blow onto them. Nero has been dealt with. The others are still outside, lurking somewhere in the corner, but the last man standing is somehow surviving at the brink of it.
PE Sports are sending their last player outside of the blue zone towards the vending machine in Miyazaki Strip. He's gonna have to tank all that blue zone damage, and he finally gets Nero back on the ground. But now, the battle of attrition between Falcons, Esports and AVIDA is underway. Falcons actually decide to back away from that spot and get into the safe zone instead. Even though the lightning is raining on them from above, Falcons are using the bridge as cover. Will they be able to get there in time though, because Keroro and On Fire are being pursued by AVIDA Esports in full swing, and BIGETRON right behind them.
Stroex is still alive. If he goes ahead and takes part in this fight, it's going to give him some really good eliminations. But AVIDA XKDC, they're taking things very close and personal. On Fire, lovely shots coming through. And alongside that, this is just the beginning as Falcons, they're slowly just eradicating every and any person who comes onto this bridge. It's the battle through which survivability has come down to a very sliver of a chance. As BIGETRON, by Vitality, they call in the third party. And this third party is going to give them some really good results. That's right,
BIGETRON.
1 by 1, inching very close. Limit X7, he's the last man surviving. Falcons, they need this one through and throughout. He jumps very down, his HP is so low, and Stroex is still there witnessing, standing there. What's he doing?
Man, if Stroex gets eliminated in the process of BIGETRON halting down the last member of Falcons, that would be rather unfortunate.
Oh,
yep,
now he's
there
gonna
you
be
go.
looking.
Kojak evaporates his opponent, and that's the end of Falcons as well. We are now down to the last three teams. BIGETRON have all four of their players alive, and they're climbing up the hill. So are Reckoning Esports. They clash head on. Sohan gets downed by that freeze bong.
Height advantage.
Koja also had the nice sniper shot against him, but Vota with the AC-80 finds Koja. This could be an opportunity as Deeks is forced to go for the revive, and without the Thiva, it's taking him very long to do this. Ninja will be forced out of that cover. He needs to get out into the open and join Vota near that zone. But in this entire kerfuffle, Stroex is managing to get into the zone undetected.
Undetected, you say? He's already marked one player, and now all the attention onto this final dude. Gyeong just gonna rush through and get the elimination. BIGETRON by Vitality. No Booyah, no problem, is already long scratched as they get their own.
Finally, after a long one. Yeah, it is indeed a massive one. And finally, after dominating the lobby all throughout with their position points and their elimination points and their overall strategy, the way they've changed the meta, After doing all of that and dominating the table, now, halfway through the last day of the main event, they finally get a booyah. I mean, they were already on top without it. Now, with this booyah, it's not about taking the lead, but it's about building a buffer between yourself and the second place team.
It's about a statement.
Yes.
That statement is heard all across. That Mexican wave of Bigetron by Vitality is just taking so many teams being cuffed. And after that, there is no response to its heroics. This was the kind of heroics that I would love to see when Bigetron by Vitality was taking a fight against IQOO Reckoning. That was the time for him to hit his shots. As that one shot was such a banger, I could see an instant knock coming through. But it's alright. Those last moment jitters just makes yourself so panicked that you just don't know what to do. But this booyah by Bigetron by Vitality is a huge statement that they're gonna keep coming forward for it and they're gonna keep taking those elimination points.
Sheesh! What a performance from this team. Whether it's managing your resources or whether it's keeping track of all your opponents. It's not just the shooting and the positioning with this team, it's also about maintaining a good read of your opponents. And they close it out with their first booyah, 31 points. Honestly, this is not even their most impressive performance. I've seen them pull off 35-point games before, so this is rather lackluster, even with the booyah. But that's only because Bigetron have set such a high standard for themselves. We expect them to live up to it all the time. Still a very good game. 31 points by them, Falcons at 22, and then you see a massive dip in points with everyone else. IQOO Reckoning at only 15. You go from 31 to 22 to 15. Like, there is absolutely no homogeneous points in this entire table.
True that, and in the smack bottom, MAQNA Esports, they've not been flourishing a lot. They've not been able to get those fights right, even though they're heading towards a really nice zone, or I would say a drop location where it can be a clash between another squad. They're just not able to figure things out. But this one man, Koja, has been finding those eliminations and damage to be racked up to the spot of 3,292 and 10 total assists. So 15 fights in which he has taken a part with. With just a level 3, well, it all works out for him.
Yep, that's a very good use of the Winchester. As soon as he hits that double pump, his opponents go down. And with that, it's not just his aim, but it's also the way he uses the Chrono Shield to help his teammates up. That's really good. And sure, their support gameplay is not as on point as someone like Falcons or GOW. It's still damn respectable. 3,292 damage along with 5 eliminations puts this guy as the MVP of this game. But I kind of want to see the stats of his other teammates as well. I want to see if this was a game where Koja carried them to victory. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I'm pretty sure his teammates also contributed equally.
Oh, let's see. Of course, the way they were all banding together, hopping on for every single fight, it explains a lot the way they have been performing. Oscar dashes all across, Joseph the Silver Spoon disabling any and everything which is thrown at them. Koja as well, being a bomber, has been doing a significant job. Keong, well, this dude is on a different level as Dix and Keong. Both of them love to rush, and all of the rushes has given them such good edge on the opponents that they just go mute. They find different ways. They either jump down the bridge or they just find a home to which they can at least call it a peaceful spot or a nirvana, rather than just going outside and being completely thrashed by Bigetron by Vitality.
Exactly. And you take a look at the team compositions, it tells you a very clear distinction because they might not be supporting each other as much as some of the other teams, but they kind of believe in self-sustenance because their rushers using Oscar and Tatsuya also have abilities like J-Beebs and Olivia and Ford equipped. So they're focusing on survivability while also making sure that they can dash in and get into positions where they want to be.
Love to be chonky. And with those chonked up characters, the kind of damage they're dishing out, 3,000, 3,000. There's only Deeks who went all the way down to the halfway of 3,000. It's alright. But overall, C-Bank as well, my oh my, this sniper was elite.
Elite indeed. And now that all of these guys are racking up 3000 damage games, I kind of feel like these can be given a benefit of the doubt, considering that he did die out early on. He was later res, that's probably why he has slightly less damage. But regardless of how much damage he puts out all by himself, the way his team moved around Barbuda is super impressive. Let's take a look at the circle analysis and see where this team has been all throughout. So they started off in mill, uncontested, and the moment they got done, they jump onto peak, and then they start fighting people. You know, they pick up a fight against Reckoning Esports, don't overcommit, and go back to peak. And then they just kind of take up the, you know, the loot as well with the airdrop. They fight against AVIDA, force them back to revive. They go towards Pochinok, fight another team over there, and then they enter the circle late. And when they do enter, they find the perfect timing between P Esports and AVIDA and find the opportunity to eliminate them both.
Well, I would like to begin with, first of all, hats off production. Thank you so much for the circle analysis. It gives us this most detailed understanding of about what just happened in the entire map. So, well, we could see that. And as you summarized, Crips, we could imagine the way teams are trying to go ahead and get those elimination points, but eventually they are fading away. What's going wrong? I majority of the time felt that the rotations that teams were calling in, they were very, very weak and not at all calculative, and due to which they were falling prey again and again to those teams who were having a very good stronghold inside the compound or outside it. They were keeping tabs constantly, and that's what helps in building the character of the team as well. Specifically BIGETRON by Vitality, they have been doing this since game number 1. It doesn't matter. For them, every game is the final game. And that's one of the things that I love to see from their end.
Exactly, because they are just giving their 110% all the time.
Exactly.
We see them get these 25-30 point games almost every single time. That's how consistent they are. And up until today, they did not even have a booyah, and it still wasn't a problem for them. Now that they get the booyah, they somehow still have less points than their highest average, than their highest breakout game. That's how good they are.
You know, there's one thing, Crips. As the groups have changed, right, interchanged, of course, the competition has increased by, I would say, 10 folds. And that's the reason the moment you saw a booyah coming in their pocket, it's just 31 points. And their highest without any booyah has been 30. So I completely understand where they're coming from as well. But moreover, just imagine going ahead and accomplishing such a tough fleet in such a lobby. It's a skill on its own, and the others, they need to wake up. Last 3 maps to go, Crips, and from here on things are just gonna get even more tougher. Specifically for S8UL Elite, they've not been able to perform that well, and in order to reach towards the qualification or even reach towards the top 12, you need to give it your all.
Yeah, so far they've only managed to farm up somewhere around 30 points, maybe lesser than that.
Yeah,
they still need 70 something in 3 games. Boy, that's gonna be super, super tough. At the same time, some of these teams from Group B will be just watching and praying because they can't do anything now.
Crossed.
Their points are already locked in. All they can hope now is that the Group A and C teams don't outperform them. Some of these teams only need like a couple of points to qualify, and they've already secured way more than that. But these other teams, they need 50 something, 70 something points, and they are just struggling, you know.
Yeah.
There are people out there dying of thirst when someone else is drowning in success.
They would actually love to go ahead and see teams flub at this point of time. So fingers crossed, touch wood, whatever breaks the curse. Let's see whether it's going to help them a lot. Group B, it's all down to Group A and see how well they can be afloat or get drowned with that kind of performance that we are already seeing. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it from our end. It's me, Azura Aiden, alongside Crips, signing off for now. Later on, it's going to be Neptune alongside Lucifer to entertain you for the last 3 maps. Till then, stay tuned alongside Get Some Popcorns, because things are going to get heated up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, and this is a Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2025 final 3 games and final 3 chances for the team to get into that top 12 for the grand finals. On the desk, I'm Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, joined by the one only Lucifer, AJ's brother, and we will be your caster for the remainder of the day.
It is going to be an exciting one here, Neptune, because for me, in these last 3 games, I'm still speculating whether it's Group A, whether it's Group C, and the ones waiting behind, watching all of this live is Group B. Who is going to make it to the top 12? At least in the play-ins, it was top 10, so you had an idea. But in in this main event, we have that additional 2 slots, and especially the stakes are higher in the grand finals.
And let's see, though, if this is something they can change, especially for those who are still afloat on the top 12. But in a bit, we're going to see where the teams will be dropping in on our next map, which is Purgatory. So let's take a look up their drop spots and know that we have been wrong for most cases. But I guess how the teams are spread out right here, it seems to be true. But there will be some who might be going for that moat house. It's quite open. A lot of teams are loving that because it's very isolated. And one good thing for aggressive team is they can just go all ham without being third party.
Let's see if that's going to happen, because now going towards game 4, right? Purgatory it is, and we have to figure out how teams are going to be functioning, because in the first 3 games it's a tad bit different of how it ended yesterday, because the start was a lot of Indian teams and then towards the end it was the Southeast Asian teams. Today it has started with the Southeast Asian teams, and now I'm wondering, is it going to be the Indian teams or is it going to be the other South Asian regions coming up, because a lot of at stake for MAQNA on the other end, for DRS if they could make it, because I think yet a lot more expected from these 2 teams especially.
Yeah, I mean, you did mention about MAQNA Esports Club. It's very low on how they get all those points match after match. They are fighting back, but like I believe they're currently in the 16th place, and you don't want to be there, especially in this part of the competition, wherein there's only 3 more games, and if the averages doesn't change, it would be done for them. So let's see if they can change that. Flip the script right now. The only representative from Malaysia, and also my man Raymil, the 1% from the Philippines, joining the party.
It's going to be an interesting one, and I think we have that belief that these teams can still do a lot more, because I still have somewhere in the back of my mind of what we witnessed on day 1 from DRS, the last 2 games, the back-to-back booyahs that we ended up witnessing. But for now, we'll take a look at the predictions that we've made. Is it going to come into play? I've gone and picked in the 2 Indian teams that I'm looking forward to starting picking up pace, because Reckoning did this on the day 3 of play-ins. GODLIKE, we know they have firepower. Game 2 did not work out, and I think Esports, that's the safest I've gone for, Neptune.
Yeah, for me, I'm going for BIGETRON, BIGETRON by Vitality, Team Falcons, and of course GB. Just to be honest, I had NG Pros right there, but how GB Esports started it off, I had to change it. I will have to give my love to our Nepalese team, but I really hope they can move up even further onto the leaderboard, because if I'm not mistaken, they're very low in that, like away from that 12th spot. So they need to hustle right now. But if they don't make it, they still have my heart.
Exactly. I think at this point, right, we're seeing the highest level of competition from every team in this Asia Invitational, and they're giving it their all. Now, some teams are taking away points, making early eliminations, and a complete team elimination also happening at the very start. But still, there is one more advantage that Neptune, that these teams can think about, is staying in the top 16, because for the next weekend, they can be in the class squad. So there's at least that buffer that you could think about. But yes, I know every team is gearing up to be in the top 12, because nothing is better than getting to the Battle Royale, getting to the Champion Rush, and calling yourselves the Asia Champs. And I'm looking forward to it, rooting to see which teams are going to be in that direction. And now going by a team who just got a booyah, BIGETRON by Vitality. They were already flying high without a booyah, and this just pushes them even further, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was chatting with Chris Joe, their coach as well, on YouTube, and I was just asking, like, are you shying away from Booyah? And he did mention that they are always chasing for the Booyah. I mean, 7 out of 6, if not 8 out of 6, they are 8 out of all the games that they played, they are already on the top 3. So let's head over to this game, and neither heaven nor hell can save the teams out of Lucifer's doorstep as we jump into Purgatory.
It is going to be hell unleashed. These teams have to give their all, and if they don't, they will be the ones weeping eventually at the end of this game, because points are a necessity. Let's talk about if there are clashes, and we spoke about MAQNA leading again, and look at around Brasilia. They're around with NG Pros as well as AVIDA, and if it doesn't play out right, they could be in big, deep troubles.
Let's see how deep they can go right now in terms of trouble. But speaking of trouble, here comes Team Falcons going against GODLIKE, and Nancy has been taken down. Now, a knockdown against Limit as well. A little bit too far, though, in terms of recovery as well as a backup is on fire. But he is already on the roll. Not quite sure if this is a smart move, but everyone else is flanking that away. Yoki goes down. Now, it's up to Nancy to go in for the pickup, but unfortunately, there's no more time, no more space, because Falcons is smothering them.
It is going to be difficult. Nancy has to just buy time now, but if their teammates are looking forward to jumping back, it could get interesting. Nancy tries his best with a dash. Doesn't work. Well, that's alright. At least his teammates will be able to make hay of this, move in the other direction. You could see the quick revive as well. But MAQNA Esports, on the other end, we spoke about this. They need points, and they're picking a fight with NG Pros, and NG Pros seem like they are getting hit by them now.
Let's see though if they can survive that. 14 Falcons. Jakarta has been taken down. A good chance for a revive, but only one will be taken by Peanut right now as he jumped in onto that vending machine. And there goes Limit 7 for that revive as well. And Limit 7 being revived, so there's more chance for them to really get back into play. But so far, Echo right now just roaming around, waiting for the opportunity. And here comes that Aurora Vision being triggered. He knows exactly where to go, but a quick movement from Echo right now. Not even making a noise, but Marco spotted and shot with a mini Uzi, but still unable to go for the knockdown. And it was on fire who was taken down.
Not trying his best, Pina here, going for a one-on-one exchange. And Marco still ends up putting him down, but Marco's not safe yet, and he also gets taken down. These are just exchanges happening. But I think finally GODLIKE have decided, hey, it's not going to work if we keep prolonging that fight. I think the same intention is going to be from Falcons as well. But wait, is Nancy again going towards those compounds? It seems like, yes, these guys are relentless at this point, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, it's either they're relentless or stubborn. So,
yeah.
Let's see now. I mean, let's see if they can go back into the fight. Well, I don't know. Like, they're not sure who they're going against. They don't see that it is Team Falcons. But the way I'm looking at it, I think they really want more. And if they have a chance to get more points out of just one team, then why not do it? But on the other side, there goes Arman for the hit against Ronif. And Ronif will try to be picked up. Now,
Double kill.
right now, also for the backup. And, well, there's no rescue coming in for teammates. But it's just fortunate for IQOO Reckoning right now that they are on a high ground. Great advantage against the opponent. But let's see if they'll be able to go in for the hunt.
Oh. Reckoning Esports, they're sitting at 87 points. Looking at how we kind of thought in terms of the points, right? All of his talents, figuring out how much should be the cutoff. And yesterday we ended up seeing Nightmare being the only team at 139. BIGETRON were right next to them at 132. And as I take their name, BIGETRON by Vitality, they are grabbing more finishes. They're getting their eliminations, not letting everybody be the lobby leaders. But on the other end, Mr. J, quick run, he wants to revive, get his teammate back up, and there it is. He gets them immediately. NG Pros on the chase who are here, they see and spot that. And they know that's ammunition also landing down Anubhav. Good shots connected from Mr. J, but he'll not yet be able to find the knock on Anubhav for now.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. J was going for installment on that revive. Went in for Arman first and then Hassan. It's a good thing that he was not rushed that quickly. And then he did manage to get that headshot, just pushing them around and making sure he is not bothered. Now, let's see though, Pahadi already on the high ground, VSK in hand, but Team Falcons back in play again. The relentless, as you say, or the stubborn GODLIKE is still here. I don't think they will be farming that much point. They will need to move away and find a different spot.
They're fighting with a team who are at top, and Falcons love extra points. And they're taking it. They are just, they're like welcoming opening dish that they're getting from the very start of it, and they're still sitting at the starters. We've not even moved to the next appetizers, the next set of course meals, and Falcons are already having a good time at total of 9 eliminations.
Oh yeah, definitely a 9 elimination right now, and they didn't show up that much as expected from the first day that we saw them play. When I say didn't show up, they were invisible all throughout the first half, and then later on, that's when they go in for the fight. But now, even from the beginning of the game, they were showing up, going for elimination, and not being faced at all. And I guess that's one thing that like catch everyone's surprise if in case they go against Team Falcons, because they don't see that much early engagement coming from the team.
All right, now keeping the engagement ongoing is going to be SATL Elite with BIGETRON by Vitality, and it looks like BIGETRON by Vitality know there's somebody close by. They're waiting and letting them get closer, and there is the initial shots being taken. The first knock's been found, and Koja takes quick run towards his teammate. The revive should come through. SATL Elite, this should be the opportunity they should run through, but they're still taking this distant fight. The plushie comes, but it falls a little short here, and therefore Diggs and Koja will for now at least have enough space to run around, but it seems like still shots being connected. Diggs is super low. Arman, he's not stopping with his Pekka's shots coming through. And BIGETRON by Vitality are wondering, how could we answer back? And finally, there it is by Kyung.
Yeah, Kyung in there. I mean, they reposition and then they fired back. That is the best position to take right now out of the angle that they were taking earlier. Now it's left to Patty right now to survive, and I don't think you will be surviving that long, especially for going against you. Now, it's quite tough, but a quick revive has been done for the team. And let's see, BT are already grabbing 8 on elimination. Now let's see if they will be able to go in for that continuation of this fight, or will they be focusing on to the next phase of the circle. But Ronit, on the other hand, for Michael Reckoning, just hiding out, UAV might expose him in a bit.
Yeah, they use even a binoculars, which gives them a little bit of an idea. From the other end, Reckoning going towards IQOO. Oh, that glue wall. NINZA, I think his intention was never to even be a part of a fight. He was trying to get towards the circle. They're still playing outside the play zone, and the damage is something that they're worried about. And on top of it, the qualification, where GODLIKE are already sitting at 103. Reckoning are still around 20 points behind, so they have a lot of catching up to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of catching up, and hopefully they play safe. And again, it's 8-minute mark. They can play for a few more minutes, like at least 5 minutes, go for survivability, and then that's where you wreck it later on. But how can you wreck it if the shift is quite far from everyone else? And I can see a battle between AVIDA, XKDC, as well as PE Sports, wherein I think PE Sports are the one in the losing end because they're ones moving away, but into the clutches of MAQNA Esports, and everyone else. GODLIKE is also reeling in towards that middle. But as we head into GBE, we are now seeing a little bit of civil war right now between the two Nepalese teams.
Now on one end, DRS, we spoke about their booyah that they picked up on day 1, and GB did the same. But today is day 3, and it is a matter of qualification. Both of them need to get closer to top 12, whereas 16th position is where GB is at. So there's a lot. It is 17th, and on the other end, DRS trying their best, and there an opening. Can they find it as of now? Speedsy with the P90 just taking shots, has not yet entered. On the other end, DRS well placed glue walls, making sure they don't get closer. And on top of it, even this spot, the flash freeze, but that was nice, well used, opening up the glue wall, and an opportunity. This could be how, with Broken's hand, they move in, but it's the knock that comes on the other end, and Broken also gets hit. What a dash coming through, and now it's Speedsy as well, with that breakthrough. DRS puts GB down to their knees, grab the eliminations, and they want to prove who's better.
I think it was Ace Alu right there with that valiant dash, and I didn't know that was possible. I was not expecting it. Through the wall, through the window, you go in for that Oscar dash, and you still manage to go for that push or for the knockdown. So I'm really loving that use of that skill, perfect timing as well when all of damage has been ensued early parts of that engagement. Now, we are seeing a few more teams within the area. Purgatory, I'm not expecting that a lot of teams will be surviving in the 10th minute, and they're 12 still alive and kicking, and still we don't know who's going to win it.
This was the same case that happened in game number 1 today. 10 minutes plus, and all 12 teams were surviving. When we went to game 2 and game 3, yes, we ended up seeing very early eliminations from a lot of teams. But game 1 and game 4 seems to be a little bit of a replica. And it tells you why, because teams need points for qualification. SATL Elite, they also need. They find LBT, missed Flushy over there, but can LBT make sure he misses those bullets and find a knock of his own? No, they surround him, and that is going to be an elimination and a point in favor for SATL.
SATL right now gets that elimination, though they lost Arman in the process. Let's see if they'll be able to go for refi. But on to the next, they do have GB, who's just waiting for his chance on this vending machine. So let's see if he'll be able to step in. Well, that would mean that SATL will be moving away. Cassie Sir right now, and everyone else is heading right to him. If he goes for the corner, this might be it. Nope. Well, SATL just missing him. No one's checking this. Now, Pahadi, the only one who might be the trump card that will eliminate GB Esports, but Hassan not moving straight. Go ahead. Go away. GB Esports needs this.
Yeah, they need it very bad. They needed to make sure that the team survives even further. We've been talking about it. All 12 teams are surviving, and if Kazi Sir goes down, it could become a problem. Their intention is making a big trek, get that zip where, as you can already spot one of the players taking it. Hassan also wants to go in that direction, but plays on damage. That's tanking a lot of health, and Kazi Sir, I think this could be the best opportunity. He made a run, but Pahadi is still at the vending machine. Kazi Sir, it could become a problem or an opportunity for an elimination if he's not ready, and it seems like he might not be, but Pahadi, he was crouched as soon as he spotted, puts him down, and the end of GB Esports at the 12th spot here on Purgatory. It seems like hell is written in their name for now.
Oh yeah, I mean, Pahadi, the patience of the guy, and not for sure really spotted that one guy in there waiting from GB, but it's just unfortunate for GB Esports, and apologies right there. I guess I jinxed the team, putting him then on my prediction, the first team to be eliminated. Now, for BTR, well, earlier, no Booyah, no problem, but now they are in here with one Booyah and still doing the same thing that they have done, but SAQL eliminated as well, and what a surprise, we didn't see that coming.
I think it was caused because of them being outside the play zone, taking time to rotate out, and while they were getting into the circle, and they were eliminated by two different teams. GODLIKE picked one elimination, we saw AVIDA as well. And that is one of the reasons you should not dwindle around outside the play zone for far too long. But for now, far too long, holding the compound was DRS. They get flushed by AVIDA into the other. That was a smart move, quick on their heels. They cross over, but it's not yet done. The risk is still there. A nade tossed, a late of a glue wall put down. At least for now, they bought enough time.
Let's see, AVIDA already putting pressure on DRS, but pressure is still being averted. But on the other side, a few of those grenades from M79 coming from Koja has been locked in. Now, will they be going for the rush or wait for the next knockdown to happen? Because they know that shots is coming in from AVIDA on the other side. There goes a cryo mine, Blushy being thrown at BTR. Exactly where they are positioned has been spotted by AVIDA, but no, it doesn't slow them down. BTR still going for the pressure against Anusit, who was knocked down for a moment, gives that opportunity for the rush against the RS.
DRS now are getting pushed upon. There seems to be a knock is what BIGETRON by Vitality are finding, but because of the glue walls they've put down, it is the attention moving towards AVIDA XKDC. And BIGETRON eventually realized that to push this forward, it would not work in our favor. But on the other end, right in front, we end up seeing even NG Pros getting eliminated. GODLIKE as well as FALCONS having a fight. PE Sports in the mix of things, they get eliminated. A lot of these top teams going out would become points for the teams at the bottom. And MAQNA are trying to do that in their favor. Right as now, 7 eliminations, and we'll try to push it further.
Let's see if they can go in for the push right now, because it seems like a lot of teams will be swarming against them. And it is BTR and the blue closing in. Get Boo and Raymil going on a push, but thanks right now. There goes for the rush. Raymil, the only remaining Superman being used, but I don't think it would last that long. And MAQNA Esports will be eliminated right here, but it would be at a cost of Young and probably both Koja as well. And Dix will be going down. BTR, you did call this out earlier for a different team from SAQL. Now BTR still the same, staying outside of blue.
But Falcons, they're trying to keep in and keep that fight in their favor. They just concluded one with Godlike, but look at DRS now cornering AVIDA with the help of Falcons. They've closed one of the entrances for Falcons, and on the other end, DRS want to make a rush. What do AVIDA do out of it? But look at Ronit for Reckoning, and now Falcons feel trapped at the edge of the play zone. DRS, they also have to make a move because the zone is closing in. If they don't do something now, it'll become difficult. And they dash right through in, and they've tried to find a knock. It's only one that they would try to exchange on Long Kong because Takurio is already down. Babin somehow trying to survive. Stroix is still down. Babin is the last one standing for DRS. Is there an opportunity against the lot of 4 inside that Arsenal? I don't have a lot of hopes.
Yeah, not so much of hopes. And there goes Babin being taken down. AVIDA, I thought they will be taken down because of that cryo mine being logged into the Arsenal as well as outside the group. But a little bit of breathing way being given for them. But that would not be said for Team Falcons. As on fight only remaining. Puts up 3 glue walls, but it would be lost. Here comes IQOO Reckoning for the rush. But a combination of Taiwan and Winter for the isolation brings someone down. And NINZA would be next. Ronit goes down first. And it is AVIDA who will be taken down. Both that are nowhere to go. BTR still alive. 1v1 with a great one. And BTR might be able to get this booyah.
Bang waiting to spot through the VSK. Finally spots, takes the shot, and what a beautiful shot. That is a back-to-back coming in from BIGETRON by Vitality. In such crucial games for other teams, they are the ones running away with booyahs. They are the ones running away with points, and this is going to put a lot of teams in disarray, put a lot of teams in worry. But for BIGETRON, it is all smiles across.
Well, I thought it was unfortunate for them because they were not given that opportunity for most of the players of the team to step into the final circle. But I guess it did work. One player did manage to survive as everything is happening in this side between AVIDA, Team Falcons, IQOO Reckoning, and no one is given a bat against the final player of BIGETRON. He, as you can see in the map right now, I mean, he's just going for the shift and see Bank. Just waited for the perfect opportunity. Glue wall's already out of league for Wada, or just the timing that is not on him. But BTR, BIGETRON by Vitality, grabs another booyah, and they might be taking that #1 spot after this game.
They should be. They were already at the top of the charts without a booyah. Now they have a back-to-back Neptune. Unbelievable stuff coming in from their end. And you have to give it to them as well as they lost players moving into the circle. You mentioned this as well, right? When we were talking about players playing outside the zone, then losing players one after another. Even facing full team elimination could have been a situation for BIGETRON. But somehow Sibeng survived. He waited for his opportunity. Reckoning played smart, but they should have held against AVIDA. I felt like they rushed towards them, exchanged a lot of players, and that exchange ended up them having only one last player. Otherwise, they could have had numbers against, had an opportunity for a revive. But all that apart, let's jump to the game standings and see even how much Reckoning picked up, because it is crucial points for them. Total of 27 for BIGETRON by Vitality. On the other end, Reckoning Esports, just 3 in terms of a difference at 24.
Yeah, I mean, just 3 difference, and IQOO Reckoning right now will be moving up. Team Falcons are a little short, but I do agree with you on how Reckoning really ended that game. But AVIDA, well, quite surprised as well, wherein they still managed to defend themselves against Team Falcons, and they were in the upper hand from that moment. For the rest of the teams right now, DRS doing good. MAQNA Esports, surprisingly, they did well in terms of elimination. There was only 2 players remaining on their final moment, but I guess this will be moving them up. Now, in a bit, we're going to see today's standings, and hopefully for those of you doing the math, you can add up the points they have from yesterday after this game, and you can guess who has already made it to the top 12.
I think at this point, that's what everybody is doing. We don't even have to tell the teams, their managers, coaches, everybody is trying to figure that out, because they're qualifying, meaning they have one more opportunity to a fight for the championship. And the today's standings, Falcons are at the top at a total of 91. BIGETRON by Vitality trailing with just a difference of 3 is at 88. AVIDA x KDC at 64. A really good and a better performance compared to what we saw yesterday. It was averaging for them, but today they pick up pace. Reckoning finally getting back to their strides, especially with the previous game at a total of 55. Esports at 54. Surprising. Today they've not been going all out. They did start with a booyah, but after that they're like, I think we should be good towards qualification. Let's play our games around. Let's try to experiment. But GODLIKE, GB Esports, DRS, Meta, NINZA, surprisingly, they've not gotten something today to answer for. NG Pros missing. Yesterday also a little up and down for them. And SATUL Elite, a lot of Indian fans looking forward to this team to rise up. They're getting towards the top 3 and 4 Neptune, but they're still missing out. And on the other end, MAQNA rooting for it, but we are still hoping that there is some miracle that happens in the last 2 games.
Yeah, definitely a miracle is needed for them, especially for MAQNA Esports. I mean, out of all the games that they played, they got 0 top 3, and that's what they need right now. But let's head over and give our praise to Bank, the final player as well as the MVP of that game. 7 elimination, 4,852 in the damage and 4 assists, wearing that Nero with the Moko, Maro, and Suzy standard build in terms of active and passive skill. BSK, we've seen him use that, and if in case he doesn't make it with that shot, and the final player that he's going against is really getting close, he just needs to pull out that cryo mine. There's no saving him. There's no putting up that glue wall, and he might be able to still make that shot.
Yep. I think all in favor of Sibeng in that last 1v1 happening, and I was surprised it came down to a 1v1. But BIGETRON by Vitality, they're going to be happy because it's their booyah. They're going to be running towards a lot more points. They are the ones who are now proving to everybody that this is what they wanted to do at the start of things. But they were going how the games were going on day 2. Now they're ready for a lot more in terms of action. But let's also give credits to their teammates, because even Kyong, Koja, they were also very crucial in a fight where they were holding off SATUL, because they both also almost were looking to be falling down. And Diggs eventually came towards helping them out, reviving the player on Koja. And this back and forth with the build that they have in terms of a Chrono, A124 as well as Oscar, and Diggs even finding a dash knock, that tells us that anything can be done. You just have to play it right.
I love the switch of the active skill that they are using right now, and it only shows that they have thought about this so much. I mean, they switch map, they change their pace, they change their active skill, and now they are getting booyahs in both games. But as we look into numbers, it's not so much for the rest of the team, because we've seen them going for the engagement. They're not too deadly, but on the early parts, yes, there is. Because it's because of the number of teams that were live in that, 8-10 minute mark. They're still full roster overall, and they don't want to risk it. And you know what happened in that final moment where they almost got eliminated. So I guess that's a reason why they are not getting that much elimination.
Now, at that point, they just instantly switched of how they would want to booyah. Did not want to jump into something else chaotic, and did not want to lose this opportunity that Sibeng just pulled out. Let's talk about the circle analysis from where BIGETRON started. We saw them at Forge, which could have been a meeting point between SATUL, and it did eventually happen, but BIGETRON immediately moved inside the circle where SATUL were left behind. They started again initiating a fight with BIGETRON, but BIGETRON held their ground, revived their players, and they kept this intention of staying with the circle itself. At all points you can see BIGETRON are getting closer and closer. The zone closes, they're at the edge of the circle. They played this edge game almost with MAQNA as well, where they could have had an advantage, but eventually they jumped right in between AVIDA. We spoke about that, where DRS were somehow sandwiched. And I think on top of that fight in the circle that we witnessed, I don't know how DRS got through it, but they did.
Yeah, I mean, it's because of disruption of AVIDA, if I'm mistaken, wherein they managed to push out BTR. They had to back away, and then DR still managed to survive. And then they met in towards that final moment. I really love how they managed to get through across, even against Team Falcon. So a lot of gameplay being shown right now, and my heart is pounding right now. That was just one game, Lucifer, and it seems like the pressure is in them, the fire is on them, like they are being fueled right now, because this is the final moments of the main event. I'm really looking forward for more.
We all are. I think at this point, every team wants to do everything that they have in their backpack, everything that they have in their books, everything that has been taught, learned and seen. They are trying to put it out because they know at this point it is all about qualification. Day one, you were trying to figure things out, that's fine. The lobby, all of it. Now on day two as well, if you were trying to do that, which could have fallen wrong for a couple of teams in Group B. Not too sure. We are still wondering that 135 we kind of speculated, is it going to be the case or not? But today a chance is there, especially for both the teams in Group A and C. They're going to be ending both their 12 matches today. But if they're not right on point in terms of figuring their elimination placement, it could get trouble. But let's talk about where would trouble strike. It depends on these preferred drop spots where clusters could form and initial drop clashes could happen.
Let's see though on where they intended to drop. And earlier, I did see some that is chasing like team. I think it is NG Pros as well as Team Falcons who went like cross against each other in one of the maps before we cast it. Now, Team Falcons a little bit safer in where they usually drop in Riders Club. NG Pros quite far. They might be seeing Reckoning Esports in a bit in TV Tower, but the problem there, the risk there is there's also Archway. Bloomtown's also available for Godlike, and everyone within the center of this island of Solara would be in early engagement. So let's see if there will be any change. Hopefully they would, and probably not so much of a passive play compared to what we've seen earlier, but a little bit more safe because they really need the points.
Yeah, I think right now it is going to be about a tad bit of survival while you're trying to grab those points. And I think Reckoning played it really well. We saw them from the very start of it, where they wanted fights, but it did not go in their direction. They decided to cut it. We saw Ninja also running away from players from SHL. That just tells us that they're planning it right. Towards the end, they made it to the top two. Now, talking about the top two, let's bring our top three predictions as we move towards Solara. And I've gone in for DRS just because what they did on day one. It is just my mind just jumped to what they did that day. And NINZA, because we know somewhere around the midday of the games, they pull out their guns and they start going all in and get their booyahs. AVIDA x KDC today has been a very momental game coming in from their favor, and it looks like it's working for it. But as you mentioned about NG Pros, you've already, I can see that the pick is coming in from your end with Falcons and BIGETRON by Vitality. Two big names with NG Pros who should, yes, do a lot, which we saw in Plains.
Yeah, I guess with NG Pros, with how they play right now, and slowly they are moving up in the ranks, and it seems like this might be an opportunity, advantage they will be taking. So I don't think they will be letting it go, but they need to be safer. They don't want to go too aggressive right now. They might be dropping in the edge, probably away from TV Tower, but that might change. Again, different map, different tactics, and that's one thing that we look forward to on how these teams are about to adapt. But those are just predictions. I am hoping that those are not who's not on our list will be able to break this, flip the script, especially those who really need to get to that top 12. Because if I'm not mistaken, NINZA, we have a few teams that like NINZA is one of the teams that really needs to bring that fire on, and there's so much in, I would say, in store for us if in case they will be fired up.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. NINZA, we even saw a couple of their POEs where they were taking players down really well. But it was a little bit of an individual play coming in from there. And today, we still need to see that team play as a whole, like we ended up seeing Reckoning play it out. Like we were seeing AVIDA trying to hold it off. It could have worked for either one of them. But if it doesn't, there is still that individual player who could pull off a booyah. That was done for BIGETRON. That was done by Sibang. We will be jumping now to Solara. This is the penultimate game. And today's penultimate game is very crucial because if you don't pick up points here, your pressure rakes up to a big stake in the last one. But before that, it is Solara. The sun is going to be soaring high, and so do the teams.
Yeah, let's see though if they will be soaring high. And one thing that I forgot when it comes to Solara, BIGETRON was dubbed the Kings of Solara. So no surprise if they will be getting another booyah in here. But speaking of booyah, you did mention about NINZA. They had 2 booyahs already in this specific map. So great advantage that they have right now. As long as they keep it on, they will be able to break through that top 12. So let's see on the drop spot if they'll be able to do so. But for MAQNA, unfortunately, they have to meet with Esports and they lose 1 player.
Early encounter over that. Well, the other players are moved in the other direction. Wait, Yancy's still here. He wants to avenge his fallen comrade. And it is a 1v1 at this point. He can try and do it, but he has to be quicker. We've seen these prolonged initiations would be a cause of concern. Instant turnaround. LBT does enough damage to find the knock and eventually seals the deal. Remel is a little too late in terms of that action, and on the other end, Nems, he gets left all alone, and now it could actually be full trouble for MAQNA. And Remel immediately backing off as soon as Avida's call was given that there is another team who have gotten closer, but a little too late. Remel between the tracks is well undecisive of what he needs to do now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, if you hesitate, you would be taken down. And the teams of MAQNA Esports spread a little too thin. And that is what B Esports was taking advantage of. Long Kong right now, just standing in there waiting on the slide rails. But unfortunately, he was not eliminated. Here comes Nolan for the rescue. No pickup. And there goes the cryo mine being pulled. A plushie taking Tawan down as a battle in 1v1 between Winter and Nero happens at the bottom. Nolan will be going in for the backup, and I don't think there will be anything surviving. And the Winter, even if before it has fallen, it has been thawed out.
What was that? The way it broke out, a surprise for both of them. And both of them were intentionally just chasing towards MAQNA's player. They spotted them, they saw he was taking a vehicle, and surprise, they meet because of that fight ongoing. However, good conversion, use of the plushie, making it work in their favor, and then taking down the players of AVIDA. But right now, same intentions is going to be coming in from NG Pros as they're surrounding the players with DRS. And on the other end, SAQL, it's a two-pronged approach coming in. Anubhav finally spots the player, a one-on-one with his teammates, help coming through. Blue walls all across, jumping around these edges, and finally the opening has been found from Mr. J. Elimination will also come through as the entirety of SAQL Elite are here.
I love that NG Pros is not phased despite of SAQL Elite already jumping in. Pahari has been taken down by Manu on the other side with that Parafal, and shots onto that roof is needed, especially from NG Pros. If in case they don't, they might be taken down on a headshot. Now, as we say, and, Mr. J right now as well as Hassan. That's what I'm talking about. You would need to be cautious of those shots. Snipers and ARs being used quite well, especially from Hassan, but Manu putting so much of pressure, and the NG Pros might be able to end this, but no! He misses. Even Mr. J might be able to go for backup, and Rupsy taken down. Anubhav, the only one remaining, didn't have that time for a revive, but might be able to do it on Manu.
No! Player were already waiting. Aniro is also being used. I don't think he can run away from here. Anubhav is stuck. He will also be knocked. That was quick. Look at how SATL played that around. I really like their positioning, the way they were fending the players off, and they cornered NG Pros without giving them much. And now SATL Elite in such crucial games are picking up very early elimination points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 7 elimination points already from SAUL. This would help them move up, but for how much? Because they are very deep right now onto the leaderboard. As we look into some of the teams, it seems like BTR being cautious, being slow. Echo spotted in there in the snipes, but Kyong's the one putting some damage with that Bison. There goes that Rebel Rush, but unfortunately he got knocked down. Koja though, having his own mind, his own problem to deal with, which is Marco. Not even phased with what's happening with the rest of the teams. And they're still up right now and might be able to finish and clean house.
They do, they get those 2 eliminations, push it to a total of 5. But I really like what our production have done. Again, this happened during the planes as well. They removed the overall points which was there, and now when I take a look, it's just the eliminations on this given game. So right now everybody has to take your notebook, start making a mark of the points and figure out whether your favorite teams are going to make it through or not. But for now, a little trouble for BIGETRON's end with Bang knocked. There could be an elimination confirmed, and it will be. GB Esports, they're the ones who do it, and GB Esports, they need points. It could be a right plug that they've pulled, but they have to continue this fight.
Yeah, let's see if they can continue on. They're going against teams that has grabbed a back-to-back. And Koja going solo right now, but really no way onto that side. So I don't think this would work for the moment. MAQNA Esports though, eliminated from an ice grenade. That was a surprise. Here comes the boost. GB might be able to make it, but it's a little bit too late. BTR already went in, a headshot and almost a takedown, but not against Styx. He will be will be dropped from that jump, and GB Sports just farming all those points.
What a shot it was, but they're still not in the clear because instantly even MAQNA tried their hand, and there it is, GODLIKE. This is what we spoke about, Solara's confidence coming in from there, and the elimination confirmation, and Kyong in trouble. Can he survive? Position spotted. Vincent trying his best, but he's not rushing through instantly to get this elimination. He wants his teammates to come through. They want to target this approach smartly, and they find that elimination on Kyong. But GB Esports, now they have to be worried. The fight they started could be pushed against them because GODLIKE is still holding the rooftop.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, great position for GODLIKE right now. Overwatch against everyone else, and that might force GB Esports into a back out. Now, the Blues closing in. GB Esports, or actually both teams are still near, and we're talking about second phase of the circle, so it doesn't hurt that much. So GB Esports can chill right now, but as you can see, I think it is NINZA who's moving away, still leaving GODLIKE behind, and I think that is a sacrifice that they can do. He cannot be targeted that easily.
Targeting in terms of points as well is what these teams are doing. Will eventually be destroyed. That was a smart move to see if GODLIKE moves or runs away, as one of their players climbs up that roof, and now GODLIKE has to find another approach, trying their best to flush him out, trying the best to run behind him, because you could see already he's already next to GODLIKE. And it seems like GODLIKE, he's just going to buy time. He's going to be the only player here. The other players from MAQNA, they've already jumped towards the circle. They're not even worried that this elimination will go towards GB Esports. But that was also smart coming in from GB Esports of how they managed this entirely to make sure they push the player away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they will need to make or put that pressure against the teams that will be surrounding them. Otherwise, they would be anxious on and not sure what position to take. So, smart move coming from the team right now. But outside of Blue, yes, you've made plenty of minutes already, a few eliminations outside, but you will need to move, and this is where everything will need to be calculated. Same goes for AVIDA right now, is very far from the next phase of the circle, and they might be able to cross archway, but behind that building a lot is happening right now. The lightning zone is hitting Reckoning as well as S8UL.
Both need points, and right now Reckoning did pick up. In this game, SATL Elite, they've picked up a lot, using those rails, running left and right, and find the opening on Ninja. And this could be the right way for SATL Elite to complete the full-on wipe on Reckoning, and they successfully do it. 14 eliminations, SATL Elite are proving to be elites in Solara and going all the way through. These points working in their favor, the bolts as well work in their favor. They act as complete distraction, and Reckoning didn't know to pull the trigger in which direction. And SATL completely put them down.
Well, definitely putting down. Now, NINZA, a team that is being careful because of the risk that they have to face right now. And I believe they're very close to crossing over if they rack up as much points as possible. GODLIKE, well, also stuck in one corner. They're just waiting, biding for their time. Not really that much of movement, more of a gathering information for these three teams. There goes Cryomine right now, a little bit too far. It will not land onto GODLIKE, but I guess that pressure of seeing that plushie really pushes their buttons, and hopefully they will not be going into the open.
Oh no. There's another team they're worried about, and it is again a fight between them and GB Esports. This time, GB, they're the ones initiating the fight, and it could become a little bit troublesome. They're all stuck inside this container, a floor above, and GB, they have gotten them surrounded. Flash freeze as well. They're trying to use these windows which are open, which have not been closed, using glue walls, and try to do the damage. On the contrary, even the same thing while they're tossing nades, only one of the glue walls is blocked, making sure GODLIKE do not spot them, but Riptide Rhythm used, and now NINZA are actually in trouble.
Let's see if they can get away from trouble as we see GB Sports already near. Now, they are safe from NINZA, but if in case GODLIKE plans to go for the jump, they will be the first one that will be targeted, and I guess no one goes in and no one goes out of the blue. Special next phase of the circle is already showing up. Homer being triggered right now, but no one has been spotted just yet for that disruption to happen. So a standstill between the 10 teams that is alive, and we are on the 11th mark. But on the other side, it seems like a battle is happening from both sides of AVIDA and BTR.
AVIDA and BTR, the teams towards the top, they're making sure they pick points. Same goes for Falcons and PE Sports. As you can see, Falcon pick up a point in their name. Coming to Bigetron by Vitality, they've lost 2 players. Dix and Sibeng, it's up to Kyong and Koja. The chase happening from AVIDA with numbers, but on top of this fight, DRS jump in swinging. They find Winter down, but AVIDA trying to answer back on it. Winter is still knocked. Make it a Nusit also going down. Alu, his confirmation should come through. Takuri is also down. How do DRS manage this? And you can see on the map, DRS is last survivor. Make a run for it. And making a run is even GB for this fight.
Oh, it seems like the patience has been broken already for GB Esports, but unfortunately stuck in the corner. NINZA is taking advantage, still full squad. Yakuza, Speedy, Cassie's just taking their time from earlier, but Blue is closing in, and they will be forced against NINZA. Vincent knocked down, but Yakuza, Cassie's will be taken out as well, and it seems like it's NINZA's 1v1 against Speedy that will be happening unless they move into the open where NG Pros and GODLIKE is waiting.
It's given a revive as of now, and same goes for NINZA. They've revived their players, but they're taking the damage off this Blue. They need to make a pass through to one of the windows, and if they do, NG Pros are ready for them. Earlier it was GODLIKE, so NINZA have to be a lot more cautious in this approach. Speedy's after finding his way through down the stairs. He tried his best. Kazisar on the other end gets spotted by NG Pros. This is what I was worried about. And Speedy's, he doesn't have a lot in terms of positioning to play and will eventually be cleaned up by NINZA's Shanky. And that is 7 eliminations, but that is not clear in terms of positioning for NINZA. They take this fight, prolong it, and now NG Pros know their position and they are the ones stuck at the edge of the play zone. Riptide Rhythm again coming through and now forced to push at the left flank is NINZA.
Yeah, I mean, they pull that Riptide Rhythm because of that dip. It doesn't go directly onto NG Pros! And it is GODLIKE who is bringing them down, saving NINZA, and they can go for a long flank. They might be seeing Strowex in the moment, but it doesn't face them. 3v1, easy. Strowex seen already, but not focused on. Not quite sure if they did. Maybe it's just us, but SAUL right now in trouble from the clutches of Falcons.
It's all up to Pahari. He has to make a run for it, but he's sticking to seeing if he can revive his teammates. It's because there is no vending machine, and Pahari tried his best. I don't think he's going to make a run for it. Barely surviving and on fire. Sends him packing with a woodpecker, and that is the 6th spot elimination coming in. For a lot in terms of eliminations they grab, but Diggs, he wanted to hide in plain sight through that play zone, but not for long. Falcons, they surround him as well, and consecutively 2 teams completely eliminated, the 6th and the 5th, back-to-back by Falcons.
What was running in my mind right now as Dix was walking slowly is...
Yeah.
He's trying to sneak in. Now, it's the final 3 teams. And NINZA right now has lost one of the players, but they are in the safest spot possible. And it would be Team Falcons going against GODLIKE. GODLIKE right now onto one corner. Oh, unfortunately they pull away, and it's NINZA. So it will be the clutches of the Team Falcon. And I don't think it would be long. Team Falcon will take advantage and bring them down, and GODLIKE might need to take over, or if not, take advantage of the carnage.
They're trying to. They're moving around. You can see they're traversing pathway. On the other end, NINZA cannot traverse out of the Falcons clutch, and Falcons pull these eliminations in their favor. However, Falcons, they need to make their move, and look at how smartly they run behind Yogi, because he was the only player, and they find that knock. And now IQOO, Marco and Nancy have to do something. Marco is down. IQOO also could do nothing, and Falcons will be able to secure this booyah. What a way for them to play it around. They saw a spot, saw a soul player, instantly jumped towards him and made sure put down Yogi, and as soon as GODLIKE understood that the approach from Falcons completely changed, rather than going for an on-head battle, they approached in the other direction, the weaker spot. Grab this booyah, and another top team get this in their favor.
Definitely. I mean, I'm really loving how coordinated Team Falcons was. In a bit, we're going to see the final shot, or the last shot from that game, and probably see more on how that happened. So this is but the NINZA goes for the engagement and the final moment where the pressure of Team Falcons is already on them. You were on point in their rotation, but it seems like they also got a whiff, especially with that Riptide Rhythm. That Riptide Rhythm, that was a misclick coming from Yogi, and that exposes him. Thus, the isolation played against Godlike, and everyone else just follows, falling down from that fight, especially with the barrage of M590 shots coming from Team Falcons.
What a play coming in from Falcons, coordinated, reading everything around them in terms of the terrain, reading in terms of the util that was used, the character abilities, and making sure their approach is in the right direction for a booyah. And the way they clutch it as well, right? The amount of communication that they have, the way they even concluded the fight with Meta NINZA. They knew where Godlike were, but they didn't want to be the pincers in between. They decided we're going to move towards Meta NINZA, and they did play it right, put Meta NINZA down. Godlike, they even had the right intention. They were surrounding Falcons, making sure that Falcons feel the oppression because the zone was closing in from the end of Falcons. But Falcons were quick on their feet, putting those glue walls, blocking any fight that Godlike wanted to initiate in the forefront, the head-on battle. And with that, Falcons secure a total of 33 total points, 21 eliminations. And this could have been something even for SATUL Elite Neptune. Look at them, 18 eliminations. That's the highest so far coming in from their end.
And that's one thing. I mean, this is the highest for their end. Is this could this have happened a little bit early into the day, or probably into the week? If this did, then there's a good chance that they might be able to move up and even take a safe spot at 12. But Meta NINZA, I mean, great positioning that they had. It's just unfortunate they were caught off guard with the blue Team Falcons, and you did explain quite well that they were the first choice, the best choice for Team Falcons to rotate towards. So that's what happened right now. If you have a good spot and a better team is one thing to take it. But, well, better would be a player like On Fire, and he is going for the theme right now. Fueling the fire, 8 elimination, 3,101 on damage, 9 assists, wearing that Steffi, plus the Olivia, J. Beebs, and Joseph, and Woodpecker in hand. And he knows how crucial those nades are, especially in how it was lobbed by a lot of teams earlier, and they are just going safe.
And I think that is also one of the reasons Falcons never felt the heat of the nades or the damage of the nades. Played very smartly, making sure that the team, even though they're moving around, if there are nades being lobbed, with the help of Steffi, they dodge it. He has a total of 8 eliminations, a damage of 3,000 and 9 assists, making him a part of 17 eliminations that a team were, and their total is at 21. That tells you of how much efforts he's also been, while the team was also picking up a lot in their favor, and this is the reason he is the MVP. And I think the passive itself tells you, right? He's making sure that when he's doing the damage, especially with the Woodpecker, nobody could dodge it as easy as they want, with Joseph especially being there.
Yeah, well, as we look into the rest of the teams right now, other than that Steffi, we do have a Skylar, Coda, as well as Chrono. And we've seen Pina use that quite well, especially in a 1v1 situation. Chrono right now, like the time turner from Kiroro, he used that like to the best advantage, especially if he has a partner on him, like just use that and like weaves in and out to make those M590 shots. But this is, I would say, not a common that we are seeing an active scale, but in terms of commonality, this is what we often see out of Team Falcons, but not from Kiroro though. I didn't expect him to be this low in terms of elimination.
5 assists and 4 knockouts, a damage of only 1,000, and I think it just happened to be that a lot of Falcons' fight were never their intended ones that they had to take. It was them being forced, and they strategized around, and they were forced to run towards a fight, even the Meta NINZA, even the Godlike one. So therefore, Kiroro never got an opportunity to keep lobbing those nades, get that damage in as the nade paradier for the team. However, as of now, they do get the booyah. This makes the situation for the other teams worse. We were talking about that. For now, the grand finals at stake, while Falcons, while Bigetron, all these teams picking up Esports, if they're picking up booyahs, it could become a lot in terms of trouble. Let's see if there was another opportunity for any other teams in this circle analysis. GB Esports, I think one team I want to talk about is them. They played very smart, moved around. You could see from all the way to hub that they went from Studio 2, they come back towards Studio, clean up fights over there, but they were stuck a little too long. They kept kept that fight with only one team ongoing, and they did not look out for the other teams in terms of information. And eventually when they made the rush, I think Kazi sir and Speedsy, they were the last two survivors. It was so late that they couldn't make a move out of it, and once GB were out, it was a chance for NINZA even tried their best, but towards the end of it, Falcons, who were coming in from the edges of the rails, they had the better positioning. But GODLIKE as well, you have to give it to them in this circle as well, of how they instantly moved, seeing that there was a fight that NG Pros were taking, NINZA and GB were having, and GODLIKE moved towards all of that, grabbed all their eliminations, and then moved to this last fight.
Yeah, I mean, I really love how everyone is rotating. And again, if production is not hearing this from the other casters, I would like to give up my appreciation on that circle analysis, because it gives us more of the story. Because earlier there were a lot of gunfights that really didn't show up, because there's like focus would be on one and then a different battle would be on the other. It's because of the hunger as well, the team that really needs those points. So let's see though, in a bit we are going to start our last game, and Lucifer, I am really dying to see it start and end as well. And production is giving us a curveball not to show us any of those scores, so I love it. So those of you watching, again, Lucifer has already mentioned, get your calculators, your notebooks, you're going to get the numbers. If you get it right, then you might be able to predict who gets into the top 12. But let's take a look at prop spot on our final map, and let's see how Alpine's going to look.
Alpine, and we can see clusters already towards Rivermouth, GODLIKE, SATL Elite, and Reckoning. And all these three teams, I feel like, are close by to qualification. Could also be the reason one of them eventually move out or do not qualify, and it is very crucial. And we know this for now is just a kind of a depiction that could happen, but I feel like towards Forest Red, we might end up seeing the players of SATL Elite moving around the directions. NG Pros on the other end, who could have had an opportunity picking up a lot more, but they're going to be seeming like safe and sound at Militia. But the team who had to be worried about, and who still have a chance of qualification, I feel like, is going to be DRS, who are right next to P Esports at Railroad.
Yeah, I mean, if they haven't qualified just yet, they will need to bring it all in this fight. Because you did mention about DRS. They did quite well in this game, and I'm really looking forward to more coming from this Nepalese team. But I'm really excited. I couldn't contain it. I want to see the battle already, but I guess we have to be a little bit more patient, because we don't want to like rush everything. We want to buy that time, build that story until that final moment. And for you, Lucifer, do you think out of the bottom 6 from earlier, do you think who do you think would be sure shot after this game?
I think a little more limelight, as you did even mention, right? SATL Elite, if it came up a little earlier, but a little glimpse is there. We've always spoken about this. Number of eliminations you end up picking could become an advantage. However, on the other end, I might move towards GB Esports while I was talking about DRS. Could be them having a chance. Let's see if that's going to be in our predictions. I can see already that we've not gone in that direction, except for me picking that SATL Elite, because I felt like, hey, again, the fans as well looking forward to it. This is a team that everybody wanted to. They stepped up in this previous game, felt like it could work out, but I've banked on, again, Falcons and BIGETRON by Vitality, just looking at their trend of how they've been moving, and I could see the DRS, you've gone for it. I wanted to pick GB Esports on my hindsight because of how they played, but I was still like, hey, I think I will have SATL in my name. It's okay. This last game I need it.
Yeah, I mean, they need it, you need it, and I guess it's something and a motivation for the teams as well. And most of the time when it comes to predictions, like just putting them on the board, it does happen. It does help, because the final game, if you know that you're almost being eliminated, that's where teams really bring it all out. So hopefully there's a chance that they do so. If they can bring themselves closer to the top 12 or cross over, then that would be a great story to tell after, especially on the grand finals. But if not, you did mention at the beginning of our shift that top 16 is still on, to be taken to go into Clash Squad. So there's the only, I'm sorry about this for the final 2, that they will be the only losers out in this day.
Again, I think part and parcel of the competition always is going to be someone is going to be winning all the other teams would have to be thinking about what do they do better next time, and that's what we want. When they come back again for the fight for a trophy, for better in terms of position where they will be ending on, they are better. Their nation is going to be happy about it. Their region that they're representing is going to be looking forward to, and I am wishing the best for all these teams who are right now fighting. I'm going to include even the other 8 who are not playing here for Group B because they've already been praying for it. So I wish you guys the best, because this last game is going to give us a roller coaster of a ride to decide which are the top 12 teams. Now, yes, it will depend on the teams who are also playing here, because not all the 12 teams here, Neptune, have still made the mark of qualification to the top 12. Right now, I am pretty sure none of these teams in the 12 are looking forward to whether they are in the top 16. The top 16 will only be a matter of fact after the overall standing comes today. But for now, it is the top 12. One last fight that they'll be having. The one last map in front of them is going to be Alpine. And what do they do? That is the question.
Yeah, the question is, will they be all fine in Alpine? Because you know how it is. This is the last game and last chance for teams to catch up. Really love how it's going to start right now. Early engagement, hot drops is bound to happen. So let's jump in to our final map for the BR main event. Once again, Alpine is on, and I'm really looking forward for blood to be spilled.
Game starts now, and as you said, it is to be spilled. Points, players, teams, and if they make a mishap, it is going to be their points, their chances that they will be spilling out of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational here in the main event. Tomorrow is the grand finals, and all of them want to be a part of it. Let's see if there's going to be a fight. It seems like AVIDA as well as BIGETRON might have a fight. SATUL, who I spoke about, have close quarters of Forest, but they've gone to Militia, and they've spotted a little bit of pot shots they've been taking with GB Esports. They become the elimination leaders as they find the first with BIGETRON as well as AVIDA. They are also trying their best while they've gotten one in their favor.
Oh, a lot of hot drops happening right now, but no one's losing. But as I say that, there goes the bank. Well, not really breaking the bank at this point. Long Kong, a sliver of health, and Dix for the sidestep goes in for the finisher. Koja can be picked up, and the teams of BTR is still alive. There goes Broken, being put in his hit list right now. We were expected it would be a different team, but now still 12 teams remaining, and it is Reckoning, who was wrecked from that initial battle.
Double kill.
Confirmation still coming in here from SATUL Elite. On the other end, SATUL are now found up with another fight that they have to instantly jump towards. That's Godlike. Arman's lost. It's Pahari, Mr. J and Hassan, whereas Godlike, they have their members ready. All of them moving in. Numbers in their favor. They have one elimination. SATUL Elite, for them, this is a very, very crucial game. They've revived Arman. They're waiting for him. Slowed this opportunity. But on the other end, even Godlike had a revive that they did. And that's going to be Marco trying to pick that bird out of the sky, but picking off a player as a knock. That was quick from Hassan, but also traded immediately.
Echo was able to go in for a knock, but Hadi will go in for a sidestep. There goes a rush. Mac 10 doesn't make that shot. And here comes Arman. Goes for a shot against Marco. Quick pick up as well as that blue wall placement, but he tries to heal up. But Marco still managed to go against Mr. J. 1v1 with a great one. The pickup will be done. The pressure would be onto Marco as well as Hassan. I don't think there's any way out right now. A revive has been done onto Pahadi, and the dream is still alive for the team.
It is. Well, it did look a little more shaky when Marco pulled off that knock. But looked like Godlike, they're not ready to back out yet. And same goes for GB Esports. They're thinking this could be an advantage here, Neptune, that another team is pouncing upon SATUL Elite. A couple of extra eliminations if they could pick up. And SATUL Elite, they better be wary about it.
Let's see if they will be able to go in for a hunt. Yakuza already in this corner. Not quite sure if it's spotted by Nancy, but Nancy is being cautious at this point. Doesn't want to make that shot. He just want to be sure. But there goes the blue wall placement coming from Yakuza, baiting him in. And the Kenta being pulled. I don't think it was pulled in the perfect timing, but it does save him that little bit of time. The pickup will be done onto Echo, and it is Godlike still alive.
I don't know how, but Godlike keep doing this, bringing their players. This is something that we've talked about that, and I think both the adjectives that we ended up using, whether they be relentless or they're stubborn, they're doing it. And now Kazi sir, he just might be in trouble. There it is.
Triple kill.
They at any point keep clearing players right, left, and center, and they push their total to 5 eliminations. However, Mako, he gets found from MAQNA. It's all the way in the other direction, but I don't think it could be much of a trouble for Godlike the way they're playing. However, NG Pros, they're trailing close by. They open up the arsenal to loot. This could give the intent for Godlike that somebody's close by.
Hell, let's see though. I mean, Cropsy's already in the horizon, and earlier we saw a little bit of engagement and a little bit of tussle between BIGETRON as well as S8UL, but Mr. J a little too quick with that vending machine, reviving the 2 players, and well, the team's back from the ashes. Now, let's see if Godlike would be eliminating 2 players of NG Pros, who's just hanging back. But Nancy taking this same spot. If I'm not mistaken, that was the same spot earlier that he took against JB, and he might be able to at least get 1 shot, but he has been spotted by Anubhav. The rest of the team's now going in for the rush.
NG Pros always do this in terms of putting up 1 player on the rooftop so that they're always covered. But once the fight breaks out inside the compound, that's going to be tough for NG Pros to play in terms of the numbers. But for now, Godlike don't have a lot in this compound working in their favor at Militia. So Nancy and IQOO, you could see they're making a run quickly as much as possible through the buildings. But eventually, Anubhav, with the broken walls, he spots IQOO. And that is going to be a 4-shot confirmation with the dualies as well that he will... But what could Nancy do as he's trying his best to make a run now in the open lands and the roads? But I think he will also be eventually spotted. He did just on the screens was spotted. And I think that could be the end for Nancy. Shots taken, but in due time, somehow Neptune, he makes it back into another compound.
Yeah, he gets in the compound, but now he's trapped. No way out. And everyone else will be rushing in against him. So, well, good luck to Nancy right now, but the rest of the teams will have to loot up, get all those coins to revive him. Now, let's see in what rotation they will be taken, because I'm seeing the one from the minimap who's trying to give a little bit back up or probably wait for it to unfold. But there goes Valley Dash. Aztec has been taken down, and into the time turner they go. But unfortunately, Anubhav with Max 7 brings him to his knees. 3 elimination already for NG Pros, and a few more in the horizon from Godlike.
Was one player who was thinking about the same thing while he was on the highway, but as soon as his player's confirmation came through, he's like, nah, I'm taking the highway in the other direction. I'm not going to meet them. Because we are still in that confusion, Neptune, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Have the Indian teams also made it through? Have the sole representatives from Bangladesh made it through? A lot of questions. Nepal, have they made it through? The Southeast Asian reps, have they made it through? But looking at the Southeast Asian teams, especially like BIGETRON, FALCONS, and PE Sports, they have so many points. AVIDA as well. I don't think we have much to worry about the Southeast Asian teams in terms of qualification, but every other region, they have to pick up pace, irrespective that this is the last game, irrespective that they did get booyahs the other days. Today, they have to be different, but not different in this last game compared to the day one is DRS suffer a very early elimination. Could that cost them the qualification?
I mean, that is a great question, and that might be proving my curse to be true, because I had put them in my prediction, similar to what happened to GB Esports. Like, GB Esports was the first one to be eliminated, so apologies if that is the case, though, but that's not my intention. But unfortunately, DRS has to say
I'm with you for that, Neptune, don't worry. I will support you. It is not you. Let anybody else say anything. It is not us, guys. We don't. We just want the best for everybody. But let's see. Has NG Pros have picked up a best in terms of Godlike's eliminations? They're still trying to ongo it towards Forest Red and GB Esports. This could be a fight that they want in their favor. With DRS going down, GB Esports could do something brilliant. But Manu, what a shot coming in. He waited for the opportunity, did not let go of the bullet until that player was standstill and then got that elimination.
Let's see if he can do it again. A few more targets onto the other side, but Manu has been put in a hit list, forcing him to move away from GB Esports. Now, they will be getting a few compounds. Manu right now, well, possibility of a shot. was not taken, and Yogi's the one who will be taken out right now. Cassie, sir, well, he's not moving, so that only shows that he only gets hit on a moving target. Now, let's see if Cassie, sir, might be able to do it from those surrounding the area. But for NG Pros, they might be meeting a couple of MAQNA.
If MAQNA, they're going to be doing something different, separate the player. Aztec, it could happen, but Anubhav with the Winchester, the Thorn coming in from the shots, is going to hold MAQNA off at that position, and Aztec, he will not go further. He'll just jump, try his best, and what a shot of a launch in that nade. He gets 2 of them down instantaneously, and there is nothing that they can do. Aztec takes that compound like it was nothing, free real estate in an instant.
Yeah, I mean, he's using that M79, and we've seen that really deadly in battles just like this, where you know exactly where the opponents are. They didn't put up the glue wall, or if they have, there's an opening that you can take that nade or that shot. But speaking of shot, a shot made for one of the players being knocked down. Quick revive has happened. Because of that, NG Pros will be forced away. Now, they will be leaving the area with GB Esports going for the battle against probably some of the players from MAQNA. But Anubhav and Manu, spot by Speedy, a little too quick with AC-80, and will need to move far away from this area.
Taking the Zep as fast as possible. MAQNA on the other end, they're recovering the losses they had just now towards Forest Red. That's Yogi found. IQOO has also been spotted by Shanky. Has to play it smart. He's called in his teammate, and now they would want to rush, take IQOO down. His teammates are also rushing, but there's a player who's right next on the top of the left hand of the bridge. And they have to be smart about it, trying their best, getting closer. IQOO has been spotted, trying to make their move, and IQOO as best as possible making a run. A big throw of a plushie. That was far in terms of throwing a cryo mine. And now IQOO cannot step in that direction. And eventually out in the open, Ginotra picks him off. And while this happened, even SATUL Elite, they also get eliminated at the 11th spot. Their chances of qualification after the previous game, Neptune, looked like it could have had a chance, but with now, I feel like it could be completely dicey.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite far. They did great from the previous game, but I think they need a little bit more, because from what we've seen right now, even from those at the bottom are racking up a lot of points. And from the previous day, I guess when we did that calculation at 135, there's still a huge gap between the highs as well as the lows of our leaderboard. The 135 is needed. But I think now a lot more, if not less, is needed right here because of how everything is spread out in terms of numbers and how the teams are performing in this final day. So let's see though, if that would happen. Again, we will not be seeing the points and their rankings right now other than what's happening within this game.
I really like how, while we are looking at this game, MAQNA is still surviving. But while we speak about them, MAQNA, as they know they need points. Quick was Shanky, puts down Cropsy. And now in front of them is going to be AVIDA. And you can see MAQNA quickly running towards this. And NG Pros, what is happening? Players and teams are dropping like flies now.
It seems like, I mean, they are flying like fly. And of course, when you get hit, you will be squashed, swatted, and dropped. Now, AVIDA going in for the gatekeep against MAQNA, a team that is also aiming to get to the top 12. Seems like they will be lost, but no! There goes a God nade plus multiple shots. Table has been turned, and it is AVIDA XKDC who won't be living AVIDA Loca in that fight. It's now left to 6, and BTR still doing a number on GB Esports.
GB, they got elimination. They're sitting at 9, but the number's not in their favor. It's down to the last two, Yakuza and Speedsy. Speedsy, he's making a run for it. Yakuza trying to hold it off, but on the other end is Vincent as well, and the zone is also closing. There's so much that they have to be worried about. Kyong spots the player who made a run, but Speedy, there's no way for him. Yakuza somehow did make a run, and for now GB Esports will all be banking on his coins. Will be making sure that he finds somewhere the vending machine is able to revive, but he's stuck under the bridge, and I don't think Yakuza will be able to make it through. Will be trying even to see if there is more chances, because if he tries to tread up in that land, go through the terrain, there is Falcons waiting for him. But for now, MAQNA, who are waiting, we were talking about them, they have an opportunity, but can they turn this tide against BIGETRON? They've found the knocks. Sibeng is one player that they have to look forward to. Keong as well in the time turner. Jans drives for a dash, and Sibeng is down. It's all up to Keong, and MAQNA are doing it in the very last game.
Yeah, I mean, they are doing it. The surprise hit against BIGETRON, and then I was expecting the BIGETRON might be going in for a 3 booyah for this day. Well, let's see though how MAQNA will be surviving. A pickup has been done despite of all the pressure, but who's in front of them? It is Team Falcons. Now that would be trouble for MAQNA Esports, but for Reckoning, I guess they will be a little bit safe. A lot of distraction. Limitix 7 goes for the shot against Vincent, but it seems like MAQNA Esports is not faced anymore. They are headstrong, going in front of Team Falcons. Here comes the lightning strike, and they got hit not only with the lightning, but also Keroro's M79.
It's all up to Remael. Can he do something different? He wanted to revive, turn the time turner in his favor. It did not work. Now Pina right in his face in a 1v1. It is going to be Pina who wins it out, and MAQNA get eliminated at the 4th spot. Is it enough for them to qualify for Malaysia to make it to the grand finals? Reckoning now in front of Falcons' Raider. But Falcons, they are the ones who need to make a push, move in the other direction, because the zone is closing at their end. Reckoning, we have the circle closer to them. They did even spot another player to the left in the compound, tried their best to put him down, and successfully will do so. So Meta NINZA have also one last survivor.
Oh, Meta NINZA, one last survivor. Hopefully the placement is enough, as well as if they can get elimination. But Limitix 7 as well as Pina already have him on their crosshairs. Now, it is Team Falcons going against Reckoning Esports. Both sides of the circle, but it's about to turn. And Reckoning, great rotation, similar to what we've seen Team Falcons do. But there goes Riptide Rhythm. Pina, an isolation play, disrupting Rumiz. And here comes Team Falcons from all across the area. On Fire is down, but Team Falcons still grab their 3rd booyah of the day.
What a game coming in from Falcons. The team that everybody looked up to in terms of rising on day 1, they did not see them, but now they're swooping and grabbing all that is possible on every land of Free Fire Max. And that is another booyah. And now this makes it a back-to-back and 3 on this given day. And Falcons at a total of 4 booyahs for the main event, and you can see Limit X7. He is like, bring it all. This is what we were here for. And they prove a point to everybody of why they are the champs, why they have multitude of victories and podiums in their name.
Oh, let's see. I mean, Team Falcons, this would be tough, especially for teams like Reckoning Esports, who's trying to catch up into the numbers, and you have a giant like Falcons in front of you. Yes, you will get the placement point, but if the elimination is not on point, then that would be trouble. So hopefully that is not the case, and I don't have that much of the numbers to gauge it, even if the game stats will be shown right now. So it's up to what production is going to show us in a bit. But once again, 3 booyah for today. Well, definitely no problem for Team Falcons, as they've done it once again.
Now you know of who could again be the contenders. Yes, there is BIGETRON by Vitality. Yes, there is P Esports, but Falcons doing this the way they were converting all the 4v4 fights, even this very last one. But as you rightfully said, we have to talk about the points, and let's talk it in the game standings. Falcons picked up a total of 25 points. Reckoning, who came up 2nd, we ended up seeing them only getting 14 points. It's BIGETRON by Vitality who get the 2nd spot at 21. So the top teams are still the teams at the top, even in this last game of Alpine.
And hopefully Meta NINZA, the number that they put in right here, which is 17, helps them to cross over. Because if I remember it right, they are very close to that top 12. And the performance overall for Meta NINZA is quite good. So I guess they have high hopes that they will be able to do it. It's just unfortunate that they had to start low in the leaderboard. Now, as we celebrate Team Falcons, I don't want to celebrate Team Falcons' victory right now because we expected this already. I really am looking forward to the standings. But let's take a look at our MVP. I guess there's something that is different. We have Pina right here with 5 elimination, 3,196 on the damage, 5 assists, plus Coda, Olivia, Joseph, and Ford as a skill.
And you could see on top of it the pet being Drakey. Nobody could hide from him. If the damage is done, they're trying to hide and cover. It is not going to work. And what a play coming in. You have to give it in terms of the communication. Back to back, that Falcons have been doing this. Every team trying to turn the tide against them. You have to see of how Reckoning tried their best. They tried to move around. You mentioned that. They're trying to put the glue walls, trying to go around the terrain to see if they have a better advantage, because they were at the edge of the zone. So from the center of it, Falcons had the better advantage. They wanted to turn that as best as possible. But the pacing from Falcons, that is the reason we end up seeing Pina on the MVP. Along with him, his teammates as well. You have to give it to Keroro on fire and Limit X7 with Chrono. I think we have two. Could be a little... Okay, I'm a little confused on that, but okay. Skylar is going to be there. We saw how crucial Skylar was. That is the reason one of the players who were putting... Not one, it was actually 2 of the players from Reckoning. With that Skylar's Riptide Rhythm, who got eventually knocked and did not have much space. And that is where even the 2 players got separated.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing on how they can play it quite well in this game. You did mention about that Dreki, and I guess Pina is the one of the player who is already or always on point when they put in the damage against a team. And earlier, this is the same thing that they did against MAQNA Esports Club, and we'll have to find out though if this is something that really would push down a lot of teams. One is MAQNA Esports Club, another one is NINZA, another one is Reckoning Esports. But as we look at the numbers, the team has brought in On Fire wasn't on fire in this game compared to how we saw them in one of the booyahs that they've grabbed.
I think we had this complaint when we went back to the previous game of Solara, where Keroro was not seen in these damages and the number of eliminations. And this time it's just On Fire. On Fire on the other game was actually on fire, ended up becoming the MVP, and all of that we ended up seeing. So it's nice that they have this between the teammates, that not only one is doing all the heavy lifting and the job, it's spread around with all of the 4 players. But the way they played around this game, how many others did they cause trouble to? Which 4 teammates of different teams are now going to be worried? Did they have enough points? Did we miss out because of this booyah in terms of qualification? And you mentioned about it. Reckoning, NINZA, even GB Esports to an extent had an opportunity to push ahead. They tried, but again they met Falcons. That battle did not work in their favor. Let's take a look at that, of how Falcons treaded their path. As you can see from Fusion, they were holding, went to Blue Whale, moved around, while SATUL had a fight, and which we spoke about with GODLIKE. GB also stepped in that position. It went back and forth, and eventually GB were the ones who had better advantage there.
Yeah, it seems like GB is getting great advantage from that point, but there's a lot that has been happening outside the blue as the circle closes in the southern side, and that's one reason as well why isolation has been happening, and even BIGETRON has managed to take down a few. But from that moment where they met against MAQNA Esports, they didn't put up so much of a fight, and it's just MAQNA Esports standing into the final circle together with Team Falcons as well as Reckoning when that happened. But NINZA, great position that they took as well, but they didn't go in for that much engagement, especially from Circle 5 to Circle 6. So those are like the instances wherein you got a question, like, if I put in a point, would this be enough? Would I put in 1 score? Is that enough to get me to where I want to be? So hopefully those are not the questions that these teams who are asking to climb to the top 12 are asking right now.
Yeah, and especially looking at this circle analysis, the top 5 teams itself, leaving Falcons out. Look at Reckoning, NINZA, MAQNA, and GB Esports. All of them needed points to make it to the top 12. Have they made it? They made it to the top 5, but it's about, have they made it to that cutoff also we were talking about. We are also now in that question about us, a little delusion. Was that 135 the actual cutoff that we are seeing? Is that something that the teams had to tread from the very beginning? And especially for some teams like SATUL Elite, after having such an amazing game on Solara, grabbing so many points, instantly getting eliminated very early on becomes a big problem. And that also brings us to a question of did they make it to the top 16 as well, because now both is in balance here, Neptune, and I'm worried in both ends, whether you made it to the grand finals or whether you made it to the Clash Squad, both in position.
I mean, that's one thing. I know we put a threshold of or a target of 135 for the teams to get, and I don't think I think a lot of teams wasn't able to reach it, because I did mention about the gap between the highs and lows, wherein it's going to offset that that cutoff line. So I think it is a little bit lower. Hopefully, it's lower. And hopefully the teams who really had their eyes on 135 got too close to 135 that they managed to break through the top 12. So I still don't know who got it, but for those who's coming from Group B, I guess the top 4 before the start of the game, I believe they've already achieved it. Who follows them? That is the biggest question.
Yeah, when you mentioned about Group B, let's talk about them. They were not even here playing, right? Revenant X-Park, Nightmare, IQOO Total Gaming, GOW, Kagendra and Red Hawks. And all of them, it's nerve-wracking for us while we are waiting for this overall standings, but we are ready. Let's jump to it. It is where it decides who is in the top 12, who is in the top 16, and who will be completely left out of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. The overall standings to decide who are your best 12, who are your best 16 in front of your screens.
Oh, looking at 12 right now, it is a tie between DRS Gaming as well as Reckoning Esports. The only difference is that Booyah. The back-to-back Booyah, the DRS Gaming, is the tiebreaker that we have to follow right now, because if it wasn't for that Booyah, it could have been Reckoning Esports who take that 12th spot.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. 10 points of a difference is what we were in terms of also prediction at that 135, but as you said, Reckoning's Booyah, which I was talking about, that they had in play in so many back-to-backs. They picked up 3 on the last day, but today and as a whole, Reckoning in this main event couldn't even pick one Booyah, even though they share the number of points, could not get an additional point. If they got even one extra elimination here, they could have qualified. MAQNA right behind them, a little too late in terms of action. GB Esports as well. I think the second half is where we ended up seeing a lot more action from GB. Revenant X-Park, they had the same fate that happened to SATUL Elite. They're sharing neighbors, eliminated in the very last game, in the very early stages is the 12 team. And Red Hawks did not have a great game. So DRS, Godlike, NG Pros, Meta NINZA, Nightmare, GOW, PE Sports, Kagendra, IQOO Total Gaming, AVIDA, BIGETRON and Team Falcons, they are your making to the grand finals of Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. Congratulations to them. But added to that is, yes, MAQNA, they don't go away sad. They are in the Clash Squad along with Reckoning, GB and Revenant X-Park here, Neptune.
Yeah, well, there's still more chances for them, and we have still yet to see these teams. It's just unfortunate. SATUL Elite, they put up a great fight, but it's not enough to bring down Revenant X-Park and take that 16th spot. For Red Hawks, we didn't see that spark that we were expecting from them, from EWC, and even in global finals, they could have really bring in that the prestige to Bangladesh. But right here, right now, we are seeing the teams that would be qualifying to Clash Squad. I'm really looking forward to how that grouping is going to end. And to your point as well earlier, all those effort, especially from DRS Gaming, has been into a great spot right now. So going back to that topic, I really love the fight that DRS Gaming had in there, and they managed to break through when everyone was stopping them already.
Now we have both our BR Grand Finalists in CS, but let's take a look at these 12 teams. There is no group stages anymore. There is no A group, B group, C group playing in different days. It is just only one day of December 14th to decide between these 12 gens of who will be the champion, with now another obstacle, another challenge, Neptune, that is the Champion Rush.
Oh, exactly. And you did mention about Champion Rush, and that is one reason why we prioritize on Booyah. Same example, why DRS is on the board. If it wasn't for that Booyah, they wouldn't get into grand finals. And the same goes for the champions. If it wasn't for a booyah on a champion rush condition achieved, then you will not be a champion as well. So you know how it is. You play the name of the game. Be that number one team towards the end, and you grab that booyah, and you might be grabbing that trophy.
Falcons, Bigetron by Vitality, AVIDA, XKDC, IQOO Total Gaming, Kagendra, P Esports, GOW Esports, Nightmare, Meta Ninja, NG Pros, Godlike, DRS are your 12 finalists for tomorrow. Whether they pick it up, the question that Neptune asked, all of that will be answered tomorrow. Tomorrow is when it all breaks loose. Every team gunning it for all. All the different pathways, the storylines, the way teams played in our main event, in the play-ins as well, will not be the same when we go to the grand finals. It will be completely changing because that one point you mentioned, it will matter on the booyah. It will matter when you reach the champion rush criteria. And if you are early there, if you are able to close it early, it could become an opportunity because we all remember in play-ins how GOW played. And now here in our main event, it was Bigetron by Vitality without a booyah as well, getting so many points. So they could still get to champion rush without a booyah as well here.
Oh, let's see. I mean, a lot of questions, a lot of storylines to unfold right now, but there's one thing that the teams would be doing, especially the coach, the analysts, and the players themselves. They will not be sleeping this early. They will be hitting the screens, their notebooks, and doing all those calculations, those adjustments that's needed because you don't want to mess it up. And you don't, to your point, Lucifer, you want to get to that like champion rush condition a little bit early. And with the top dogs in here bringing like stacks of points in early games, I hope not, but I don't want to see an early end for tomorrow. I want everyone had the chance to get that championship.
I agree, hands down, that now we are known of our grand finalists. The very moment that we were waiting for when we started last weekend on Friday for the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, we have our 12 grand finalists for the Battle Royale. They'll be fighting for the $35,000 US tomorrow. How will they do it? Will it go all the distance on that 10 games, or is it going to end early? For us on the desk, we don't want, but maybe for the fans, it could be a little earlier. For the teams itself, it could be even prior that they'll be looking forward to it, Neptune, because this is where it comes down to. One last question. Who is going to be the champion? All answered tomorrow. But until then, this is going to be me, Lucifer, on with Neptune, having such a fun day for qualification. We'll see you again tomorrow because tomorrow is the D-Day, the grand finals. Take care and keep playing.